Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. The great Reese is here. Dylan is here as well. We'll open up that mailbag at 10 o'clock, a full mailbag again. We'll hear from you coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. Paul Finebaum going to join us at 10:30 as is customary on a Thursday at that time. 11 o'clock, we'll play a little higher or lower. And then 11:30, a little bit of Shelley time getting you set for Game 4 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals tonight between Edmonton and Florida. I did want to start with a little bit of story time. One of the things that I tell people with when it comes to youth sports and coaching it and all of it is it's the car rides. I mean, that's it. It's the amount of time that you get in the car from your home to the venue with your kid that is priceless. There's a million great reasons to do it, 1.5 million, impacting youth and setting a good example and so forth and so on. The winning part's fun too. All of those things win. But I think the thing that jumps out most to me is the car rides. It's from the time that you get in the car to the time that you get to the venue and the one-on-one time that you have with your kid. And you can do this when you coach or not, when you're taking your kid to youth sports. And anybody out there who has kids can identify with that, I certainly think. This was NBC in third grade. And on Tesla, on the radio, they have a thing called Tesla Favorites, and it will just play kind of hits over the last 50 years, but not necessarily like hits. Like some of them kind of off the grid a little bit. My hunch is there's an algorithm, and it serves some of the on-demand songs that you've called on over the years, and creates a playlist for you. But it's called Tesla Favorites. So we were listening to Tesla Favorites, and Pade was in the third grade at that time, and he said, and it's Tesla Favorites served up Good Vibrations. And he goes, "What's this, Dad?" He's just a little guy at that time. I said, "Oh, this is the Beach Boys, man. I mean, this is a little before, well, it's way before my time. Quite honestly, they're before my mom's time as well." But I said, "This is the Beach Boys. This is Americana right here, buddy. This is kind of everything you want." And he listened to Good Vibrations is long, by the way. There's a thing about halfway through, and then it kind of continues on. It ends up being a pretty long song, and he liked it. And he's like, "Can we listen again?" "Yeah, go ahead." And it had become, from that point on, anytime he and I would go to a basketball game, the song that he would play right before we got to the venue was Good Vibrations. That became the song. I don't know how. I mean, that is how, but I don't know how it clicked for him or what type of mindset it helped him getting into. I guess it makes some sense to go play basketball. You would want to have good vibes. That would certainly work. So he did. So that song, and in turn, the Beach Boys and the guy who's the front runner and lead and genius behind the Beach Boys have become part of my life, to the point where for the last 5 years, every basketball game I went to with my oldest son, we listened to Good Vibrations. That's part of it. Brian Wilson passed away yesterday. He is the definition of an American genius. Obviously struggled with mental health for much of his life. It's funny, when I was a kid, my only real knowledge of them is they would show up on Full House every once in a while and play with Uncle Jesse. That was kind of my... And that's way before your guys' time too, but every once in a while they'd show up on there and play. It's a band I really didn't have much of a relationship with, if not for the fact that my kid listened to him. The hits Brian Wilson wrote, it's a who's who. I mean, it's so many, God only knows, wouldn't it be nice, Surfing USA, Good Vibrations, all of these. It painted an idealism probably for when you talk to people of that generation. His words and the sound of the Beach Boys kind of paved the way for, like, if you grew up on the East Coast or you grew up here, you had to see what California was all about. What is going on out there? Who are these California girls? What is this Surfing USA? Where can we do this? I got to do it. And it led to, I think it really inspired a great generation of people to move west and to go to California. And it remains, certainly. Do you guys have any relationship with that at all, other than just to be familiar with those songs as part of Americana? My guess is probably not.
No, I mean, but they were the first American, like, boy band. I mean, they inspired almost everybody since that time that's picked up an instrument has had some sort of inspiration from what Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys did. Like, I didn't know. Of course, you know who the Beach Boys are. You know the songs. You know Kokomo.
There you go.
But Brian Wilson, I only knew that name because of a Bare Naked Ladies song.
Of course.
And so that got me to research who exactly he was. And then I think his cousin and his brother are two of the other, like, 5 members of the Beach Boys. And so, like, you learn that in bits and pieces throughout your life. But, yeah, Kokomo's an all-timer, man. I was almost going to ask if you could do a top 5 Beach Boys songs, but they got a whole catalog, man.
You could do a top 50.
Right.
Yeah, Kokomo was in the cinematic masterpiece Cocktail, where a young Brian Flanagan's dreams are squashed in business school, and he decides that the best way to go do it is to bartend in the Bahamas, I believe, is where he goes, or Jamaica. I can't remember.
To get away from it all?
He's got to get away from it all.
I think for most, and at least the millennial generation, which is my generation, it's 50 First Dates.
What do they play in that?
Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's like a common thread through. But I feel like you said, I feel like it was like a curiosity thing, like listening to the Beach Boys. Like, I've only been to California twice in my life, but listening to that as a kid, like when it would just pop up, it's like, what's going on out there? Like, exactly like you said, like, right. It's got to be nice out there. I want to go on vacation there. When I'm an adult and I'm booking my own vacations, I'm going to California, and that's exactly what I did.
And it's pretty great.
Yeah.
The water's pretty good. The sun shines every day. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a pretty good thing. The other one is it's Love Actually, right? Don't they have they use some Beach Boys songs in that as well, I think, in the wedding scene. So yeah, certainly a true American genius, and America's answer to the Beatles at that time. And I think Pet Sounds, you put it in now and it holds up. It holds up in every single way, and it's just one song after another that you know. And so Brian Wilson, rest in peace, passed yesterday at the age of 82, and truly the definition of American genius. We had a game 3 last night, and I was into it. I was into it, and I found by the time it was over that, because remember we talked all week, like, I don't know who I'm rooting for, who's a villain, who am I rooting against? And I was curious if at some point, just instinctually, I would be pulled one way or another. And I don't know if it was seeing Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson and Antonio Davis or what it was, but I find myself rooting for the Pacers last night. I did. It might just still be in the back of my head, the idea that the Thunder are the Sonics, and that kind of like one of the great what ifs in sports is that if the Oklahoma City Thunder don't leave Seattle, Kevin Durant, does he play his whole career in Seattle? Do they keep that band together for a long time? My hunch is maybe they do. But for whatever reason, I found myself pulling for the Pacers last night, and their fourth quarters, it's another all-timer. Like, this is just what they do.
This is what we had talked about before their series against the Cavaliers.
Yep.
Like, this team has the counterpunch of, I'd say a better counterpunch than most in the league. And you saw at times last night when SGA was on one or on several, and they were playing really well. The Pacers, there was a time in the second quarter, I believe it was, SGA gets a really nice spin move into a layup, and then within 20 seconds, the Pacers are down the court with another, like, just a match. And I thought, well, this is going to be it was a great game last night, and the Pacers put the clamps on the Thunder in the fourth quarter. I think 18 points were all the Thunder were able to muster, and that just shows you, like, the four-quarter frustration that Indiana can provide, and something we had talked about being really fearful of in their series against the Cavaliers. I'm still bitter. so I can't meet you there with yes sirs.
That's fair.
Like, I want the whole city of Indianapolis in the next couple of days to just sink into the Earth's core, because it'll be so insufferable to have that team win a championship after dismissing the Cavaliers the way that they did. But their total team effort is great and greater than most in the NBA this postseason. And so it was so entertaining to watch that, but I'm still pulling for the Thunder.
I'm not a Cavs fan, but it's still reminding me of the Cavs series. So it's funny that you bring that up, because it's like,
it's not funny. Don't bring that up.
Sorry, it's not funny at all.
It still hurts.
But it's like, as long as the Pacers are playing at their pace and they're playing more physical than the other team, they're very, very hard to beat. And that's exactly what happened in the fourth quarter. They dictated the pace. They were more physical, and that's why they put the clamps on OKC, and they were able to kind of run away with it in the fourth quarter, because it was like Indiana was doing what Indiana was doing. They were getting contributions from everybody, which is like their style of play. And it was Indiana Pacer style basketball all fourth quarter.
I don't know how they, Reese and I talked about it before their series with the Cavs, and we're like, this was the one team I did not want Cleveland to play. I did not, you and I both, we did not like the matchups at all. And it came home to roost. Now, if the Cavs are healthy, who knows? But here's what I have learned about Indiana over the course of this postseason that maybe I wasn't paying attention to as much as maybe you should have over the course of the year. They're built for this. They've got great length. It can be your turn, my turn. Last night, Mathurin was unreal with what he did off the bench. But sometimes it's Halliburton. Sometimes you get a big putback dunk from Obi Toppin out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, yeah, they got him too. Like, they just have length. They have physicality. They kind of have everything that you need to win it. And now you have to start wrapping your head around that potentially they will. More on this. Also, game 4 of the NHS Stanley Cup Finals returns tonight as well. We'll get into both of those things. Plus, we're at a point in Joe Flacco's life, guys, where he just does not. You ask him a question, you're getting an answer. It's going to be fun. You're going to have a good listen to that. We'll do that at 9:30. We're off and running on a Thursday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included: Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here, and so are the summer savings at RCD RV. Don't miss RCD RV's summer kickoff sale running June 7th through the 21st. New RVs starting as low as $12,995. Now's the time to make a splash this summer. Hurry in. Those deals will not last long. Find unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, and everything you need to hit the road at RCDRV.com. Visit our locations, Delaware, Heath, and Pataskala, or shop online anytime at RCDRV.com.
Matty Ice here from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Are you looking for an affordable family car? Then the Chevy Traverse is for you. This month at McDaniel GM Superstore, you can get up to $3,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Traverse. Plus, qualified buyers can finance at 6.8% for 72 months. They are just a short drive north of Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. McDaniel GM Superstore, where great deals meet a century of trust. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores, so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on eggs. Right now, 18-count cartons of large grade A Kroger brand eggs are just $3.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. Sundays at 11, it's The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Let's all give them room to work. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Are you in need of basic dental treatment but can't afford the cost? There may be a solution. Hi, I'm Dr. Hal Jeter, president of the Ohio Dental Association, and I'm excited to tell you about a program called Dental Options. Dental Options is a partnership between the Ohio Dental Association and the Ohio Department of Health in which qualifying patients can be paired with a dentist to receive discounted or even free dental care. Eligibility for the program is based on your financial situation. For more information or to apply, call 1-888-765-6789.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Air quality alert back in place through later tonight, and it could be the hottest day of the year with afternoon highs soaring into the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees with mostly sunny and somewhat hazy skies. Mostly cloudy tonight, and then chances of showers and storms are back into the forecast on Friday, otherwise partly to mostly cloudy and highs in the upper 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Buckeye games have been airing on WBNS since before you were born and before your parents were born and before Abraham Lincoln was born. Trust me. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey there, kids. It's your Uncle Bo here. Proud to tell you about my friends at Diamond Ziller who know that forever starts with the perfect diamond. For over 78 years, their family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Ziller, bigger diamonds and better prices are their promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts at Diamond Ziller because diamonds are their forte. Visit Diamond Ziller today, Sawmill Road, Easton Town Center. Learn more at diamondseller.com. We have some breaking news in the NFL. Adam Schefter, among others, reporting that Bengals first-round pick Shamar Stewart has left minicamp. He's out. What are we doing? What are you doing? How does it get to this? How do you get to the point? They had made so many strides over the last couple of years. They were having an off-season, a dream off-season for Bengals fans. They got Burrow redone a couple of years ago. They kept Chase and Higgins. The Hendrickson thing is out there, but we kept saying thing or not a thing on that, and probably not a thing until he misses games, right? I mean, he's a pro. He's in his 30s. Like, he's going to be fine. He can show up a week before. I remember Joe Thomas telling me years ago, like, how long would it take you to be ready to go? And he said about 3 days when he was in shape to play, when he was in shape and had the weight to play left tackle. About 3 days. Now, that's a Hoff, so... But Hendrickson's an elite player. Do I think he needs 4 weeks of training camp to be ready? No. So him sitting out in an effort to get a bigger contract, to me, right now is not a thing. But this is a thing. This is a guy you drafted 17 overall. It's a side of the ball that is largely been neglected or you've missed on. It's going to be the difference. It's going to come down to, this is just the reality of what Cincinnati's trying to do. They're trying to win. They're trying to win in the regular season. They're trying to win in the postseason by winning 35-31, 31-28, 38-35. So if you're trying to win that way, what is the one thing you need from your defense? You need 2 or 3 plays a game that turn what would have been a touchdown drive from the opposition into a field goal. You need 2 or 3 plays a game that would have turned a field goal into a punt. That's what you need. You need a couple of third downs where you get off the field, 1 or 2 a game, because you're going to believe that Burrow and the offense are going to score every single time they touch it. So then you decide that you're going to draft a defensive end at 17 overall, and that makes all the sense in the world. But then to not have him signed when everything it's locked in. What you can pay them is known. There is a salary structure for the pick. And you're trying to get cutesy by all accounts. You're trying to get cutesy with what's guaranteed money and what is not. And quite honestly, whether you're on the Bengals side of this, whether you're on ownership side of this or Shamar, my guess is most of you are just going, God, typical Bengals, right? What are we doing? But they've gone so far to go past this. So what's the point here to save a couple of bucks? What is the point of it all? And how do you take an off season that has been scripted and delivered nearly perfectly? And again, I think the Hendrick thing will work itself out. And now have this, where you got your first round pick leaving camp. It's just amateur hour, man.
Is he subject to fines?
Yes. Well,
right? Like,
it's a good question.
He's not under contract. So technically, I don't know. I think it's the best way to answer that question. But I do think it's
a very good question.
With Stewart and Hendrickson, I feel like right now I expect both of them week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. But this on top of Katie Blackbird coming out and saying that Trey should just accept whatever they offer him. It's when you wanted to think, well, it's not the same old Bengals. This isn't the same old Cincinnati front office. They just keep kind of showing you that in some ways that it is.
Yeah.
And you don't want to take away too much credit from what they did with Chase and Higgins and Burrow. And we'll hear from the Bengals quarterback later in the program. Like, they're very much happy with how things were on the offense in the offseason, how they're going through minicamp, and how they expect to have a fast start there. But if you still got a defense under new defensive coordinator Al Golden that doesn't have 2 of your edge like you expected with Hubbard retiring, Shamar to come in and provide. And you expected Trey Hendrickson, 17.5 sacks. I don't know. But if you can get double-digit sacks out of him, then your defense is going to be better than it was last year. And if you can score 30, 35 points a game and only give up 15, you're winning most of those.
Mm-hmm.
And this just feels like the Bengals can't go a couple of months without being like, same old Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be over default language.
Yeah.
Like off, whether how his contract would offset depending. Basically, his comment about the Bengals wanting to win an argument more than games, I think is
just nonsense.
It's spot on. It's spot on. They literally picked 18th last year, and his agency came out and basically said, hey, we just want the same terms that they gave their first round pick last year. One pick different. That's all they want. That seems reasonable to ask for, but for some reason the Bengals want to do some unprecedented stuff and to save a couple of bucks. Like you said, it's ridiculous.
We do the Real Truth on Tuesdays, but I'm going to play a little bit we're going to do a little bit right now. Pro Football Talk's reporting the move wasn't a direct product of the lingering disagreement with the front office. Instead, Shamar didn't want to be a distraction for the players who were under contract and participating in the minicamp. Is that the real truth?
Read the next. I don't know if it's the real truth or not, but the next paragraph. Do you have it up?
I do.
Okay, read the next paragraph.
So the issue,
the part. Because it's hard for people to I think it's like, wait, what are they trying to do? What are they doing here? What is the point of this? And Florio does a pretty good job of summing it up. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, Cincinnati's trying to change their usual language regarding the voiding of guarantees to extend the consequences of a default in the current year to all future years. Stewart doesn't believe he should have contract language any different than the players the Bengals took in the first round last year, Amarius Mims, especially since Stewart was drafted higher in the round.
Reasonable?
Yes.
I can't find anyone who would be on the Bengals side. I would love to hear from someone who thinks the Bengals are right about this.
It's just gross by them.
It's just not something. It's not something a franchise that has Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase should be monkeying around with. Grow up. Act accordingly. Be one of the 32 teams in the National Football League. Go chase a Super Bowl. You hit the lottery. You hit the lottery with Joe Burrow. You got an Ohio kid to quarterback you. And he's not good. He's great. And then you landed Jamar Chase. maybe the best wide receiver in all of football. And then you did the right thing. And you got him extensions, and you got him signed. And then you kept T. Higgins because guess what? Your quarterback wanted it, and your other receiver wanted it. And you say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be an offensive juggernaut. So you do the smart thing, and you draft a defensive end. But now you're trying to set some absurd precedent. Nobody else in the league is trying to do this. Just you. Just nonsense. Nonsense.
Any of Cincinnati's offensive triumvirate, will any of them speak after minicamp today?
Probably not. Way the last day of minicamp works. I've seen it in Cleveland. I assume it's the exact same thing in Cincinnati. That I think today in Cleveland, I think it ends like right around noon. It's kind of a shorter practice. They're going from like 10:45 to maybe noon or something like that. Usually noon, gone. Like they're at the airport. And I'm assuming it's the same thing in Cincinnati. Like they've already had their availabilities. Like we've already heard from Joe Burrow, and we'll play some of that a little bit later in the show. But you've already heard from Joe Burrow. So my guess is that probably Zach will talk down there, and that's probably it. Everybody else will be on the first plane to Puerto Vallarta or wherever. That's my hunch on how that goes. But it's just not necessary. And it paints them in a bad light. And it's a shame because they've had a great offseason. They've had a great offseason. Again, I don't think the Hendrickson thing is going to end up being a thing. But you had a great offseason. So now all you've got to do is just put this team on the field, and you're allowing this. It's the Marcellus Wallace. Talk to Butch. This pride blanking with you. Like, just stop it. Just do the thing right and put this team that should be able to contend on the field. Joe Flacco had himself a media availability yesterday up in Cleveland. We'll have some of that for you and kind of paint a picture of where they are with the quarterback derby with one mandatory minicamp competition left. That's in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? So I want to talk to the person who is in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do, and the pain just keeps coming back. Hey, it's Tyvis Powell for QC Kinetics. They are different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Aaron Wilkoff and the QC Kinetics medical team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps heal and restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Columbus, Ohio. They'd be honored to help you as well. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, here's what's up on a Thursday edition of the program. Final day of mandatory minicamps around the National Football League. Up 71 North in Cleveland, in Berea specifically. The Browns will conduct their final mandatory minicamp. One of the things we've seen in the first couple of days is that the majority of the reps are given to the three young guys, with Pickett kind of leading the way and then Sanders and Dylan Gabriel underneath that. I outlined yesterday and there's been several others as well. Yahoo Sports had a good story on this. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com had a very accurate story on what's going on up there. And so just to summarize, what is being asked of Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel right now is a little bit different. You oftentimes see those guys with the ones, and you see them running the full complement. Yesterday was a big day. Shedeur started to get some of those snaps with the ones. He's looked great. He's looks absolutely great. He throws a beautiful ball, layers it beautifully, and is coming along in a very big way. Joe Flacco got some reps with the ones yesterday as well, and as you'd expect, because I think we kind of all know at this point, I think Joe Flacco could roll off the couch and throw a beautiful go route. That's just what he does. He just throws it's just natural. It's a very natural thrower of the football, and he did it a couple of years ago because we witnessed it. And he's incredibly popular, and it's going to be an interesting road for Kevin Stefanski to navigate how this plays out by the time we get to summer training camp and the beginning of fall, because you have four quarterbacks. Obviously, you want one of the young guys to establish. In a dream world, one of them establishes themselves and becomes the answer for this year and maybe the next 3 to 5 years, maybe 10, maybe hit the lottery. And Shedeur Sanders, who is, by most a top 35 prospect in this NFL draft, it all clicks and he becomes the franchise quarterback. Maybe Dylan Gabriel does. He's looked great. He is a wizard on play action and getting out of the pocket and throwing on the run. We witnessed that here. I mean, he does a great job of it. So maybe one of those guys can hit. Maybe Kenny Pickett will hit. I've kind of thought and said many times on this show that I think Pickett will be given every opportunity to be the starter to start this season. But there is also Joe kind of looming. And the reality is you can't fool the room. And so if Flacco gets reps, more reps in camp and continues to play the way he plays, it's hard to walk in to a room and say that this guy doesn't deserve the job. And that's one of the things, whether you're Stefanski or you're Ryan Day. I remember Chip Kelly saying that last year when we were dealing with the quarterback competition around here, that, hey, man, you can't fool the room. Room knows. And Will Howard had to win over that room, and he did. Joe Flacco has also reached the point in his life where it's a little like we were talking at the memorial, remember, Reese, about Jack Nicklaus, how he just is past the point of caring. And if you ask him a question, he's going to answer it straightforward. And Flacco had a press conference like that yesterday up in Berea. Every time he's had an availability, he just answers direct questions with direct answers. So let's hear from Joe, because I do think this is going to be a very delicate dance trying to figure out who this quarterback is with Flacco looming. Let's start with the one where he talks about his goals for minicamp as an NFL vet.
It's just kind of giving yourself the reminder that you can do it, get some confidence back, get some confidence heading into the offseason, so that when we come back for training camp, we feel like we're a team that can go win football games. And I think a lot of the offseason is just getting that feeling back. And it doesn't matter what kind of season you had the year before. You've taken 3 months off, you've been in a weight room, you've been getting back, and every time you take that field, you got to give yourself that reminder, like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be, and man, I can do this. I love doing it. And to go out there against your team and to actually complete some balls and bat balls down and do all the things that everybody's doing, it just gives you that little reminder, like, okay, yeah, we look good, we're going to compete. And I think when you have that confidence going into training camp, it gives you that little bit of an edge.
Here is Joe on the process so far of what will be, we believe, a four-headed quarterback competition by the time we get to summer.
Yeah, for me, it's about there and just kind of getting your feel back and getting the ball off your hand well, make sure you're going through your reads the right way. So I feel great with that. I feel like I'm getting through things and spinning it well, and, the other things will come, and it's not like I've had a million reps, so it's tough to kind of get in a groove and do those things. But as far as when I'm out there, just kind of getting through everything and just the vision of it all, I felt good, felt comfortable, so.
That part was the part that I thought was good, right? Not that I've gotten a million reps. He didn't get a single rep on Tuesday. He got some yesterday, but I think I know he understands it. Like they know what he is. and they know what he can be, and they also know that he can't possibly be the future of this team. And they have to see if one of those other three guys can be that future. But it speaks to kind of that other part that's going to be a war that's not war, but another thing they're going to have to deal with, which is he is immensely popular amongst his teammates. And Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, among others, have spoken how happy they were to see Flacco back in the building. Here is Flacco on that.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about relationships and teammates, and listen, it feels good to have players to feel that way about guys, and to maybe have sense that maybe you're felt like that towards a little bit too, just because like we're all trying to be good football players, and usually when you get those feelings towards guys, it means that you're working hard and doing those right things, and it always feels good for somebody to kind of pep you up and say, hey man, you did a good job today. So when you have good relationships, it's another version of that.
All right, I'm going to give you guys two choices. Flacco starts the year into Shador at some point, or Pickett into Gabriel. Choose your adventure.
Boy, I have two different paths I want to go down. As a Browns fan,
that's right.
Flacco into Shador. If it is Flacco to start the season, then I've got even more concerns about the front office than I already had coming into this for quarterback experiment.
In what way?
The idea that they just haven't hit on a quarterback.
Okay.
And the Watson thing is always going to be hanging on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything they do is going to be judged by the individual players that they draft and they try to develop, and then the Watson thing, because they pushed for ownership to get him. Mm-hmm. They pushed for the money, and everything since that contract was signed and that money was paid has hurt the Browns in being able to acquire talent. And you even had the owner come out and say it. It's a big swing and a miss. And so that is telling me that they think of this as a rebuild. Well, I don't know if Kenny Pickett helps you with the rebuild.
Yeah, for me, I'm in a similar boat. I think the fans, and I think for people like us that talk about this on a regular basis, it would be a lot better to talk about Flacco going into Sanders. You know, you have the nostalgia act of Flacco, for the lack of a better term, of, you know, the run from 2 or 3 years ago of him doing great things and leading them to the playoffs. And then Shador has all the flash and the glamour and the big name of that's what you want your star quarterback to be. But from a practical standpoint, it feels like, okay, you traded for Kenny Pickett for a reason. He's, how old is he? Like 25?
He's 26.
26.
Yep.
And then, so it's like, if that doesn't work out, you want to go to Dillon Gabriel, who is your higher of your 2 rookie draft picks. So you're telling us that Dillon Gabriel is better than Shador Sanders, according to your evaluations. So I feel like that's the way that it should go. But I feel like the fans, and from a storyline perspective, I would rather see Flacco to Sanders.
So what D just hit on there is pretty critical, and you picked up on that because they picked Flacco. I'm sorry, they picked Pickett ahead of Flacco. They traded for Pickett.
First.
Yeah. Chronologically, they acquired Pickett first. Now, those two acquisitions are very different. Pickett, to our point, is a 26-year-old, and if you view it from like the Darnold perspective, maybe there's a way to reinvigorate this. Really, really bad offensive coordinator situation in Pittsburgh, backup last year in Philly. They know the Philly front office very well. I'm sure they had glowing things. Could he work with Stefanski's offense? He is, in a way, a lottery ticket. He's kind of like a mid-round draft pick, right? That's kind of the way they view Pickett. So if he hits, then away you go. This is a guy who was a first-round pick a couple of years ago. He's got 25 starts. Let's go. Flacco was a later acquisition because there really is no future there. He, you know, at best, it's a one-year thing, right? With Flacco at this point in his career, it's at best a one-year thing, and they picked Dillon ahead of Shador, right? So that's the other part of it that is interesting. There were traits that Dillon Gabriel had that they thought were superior to traits that Shador Sanders had. Now, you've heard them say, and Andrew Berry said it, has said it many times, that they've graded Shador Sanders as the most accurate quarterback in this draft. So he can do what they need him to do. And I don't think they care at all. There's no agenda. I promise you that. And there's no ill will. Like, they all get along really well. Yesterday after practice, I saw Joe Flacco like going up to Shedeur and like kind of going through something with him from a drop and what he should be looking at, all of this. So I think it's kind of all there for them. This is the thing that I think is, obviously Pickett will get every chance to be the starter first. But whether it's Pickett or Flacco, it will be one of those two at least the first 6 games, barring injury. I see no scenario how they're throwing one of those rookies to the Wolves to start that season the way that season starts, with Cincinnati, Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, Vikings, Steelers. They're not going to do that. So it will be, in my opinion, Pickett or Flacco to start the year, and then they'll probably ride that as long as the play is good. But at some point, you're going to need to see one of those two rookies, because you have to know if you're going to address quarterback again next year. So that's the balancing act that they're doing. And so every single thing that those guys do in the room, everything they do in the practice field, it's all being monitored, and may the best man win. That it is without agenda. And that's very obvious when you just watch what you see at practice, that may the best man win at this point. And quite honestly, at this point, the reason Flacco hasn't gotten a lot of reps is because they know exactly what he is, and he's 40 years old. And that's just part of it. The 125th U.S. Open is underway at Oakmont. Looks like kind of an easy course, fellas. At least this morning it has been. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Fred's right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Psst. Hey, you. Wouldn't a Diet Coke at 7 a.m. totally hit? You know you can get that from Wendy's for just $1, right? Even you, girl drinking a Fanta on the way to 8 a.m. Pilates class. Any soda you want, any size, just $1. So go get that breakfast soda, you morning menace. But maybe hurry, because it's only during breakfast. Morning soda? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. Exclusions apply. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Hawaii.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
10 West Broad, Columbus. CordellCordell.com.
Shop Meijer and bring more to Father's Day with tasteful gifts that are perfect for the grill. Like a certified Angus beef T-bone steak, now just $9.99 a pound. Locally grown asparagus for $1.87 a pound. Select varieties of Johnsonville brats are $3.99. And don't forget Dad's dessert. Select varieties of Hudsonville ice cream are just $3.99. Make Dad's Day a good deal better at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See Meijer.com for details.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Teams are battling for the championship, and there's no better place to get in on the intensity than ESPN Bet. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
125th U.S. Open is underway at Oakmont. I got to tell you, it was pretty cool at like 7 a.m. to, hey, we're watching golf. Let's roll. Good job out of, it's on USA. I'm guessing it's probably on Peacock. This is all an NBC production, right? So I'm guessing it's on Peacock, and then later it'll be on NBC this afternoon. But it is awesome to just wake up and have golf on. We were told in the lead up to this that this would be the toughest test maybe in the history of golf. Turns out not so much. Turns out it's Raymond Memorial for these guys. Just come right out, tear it up. You got guys 4 under. There's a nearly a dozen guys under par in their first 9 holes of this thing. It's target practice. Rory's 2 under. I've seen him miss about a 7-foot birdie putt on 1, which was his 10. He had a long eagle putt that he put close. He easily could be 3 minimum. He's 2 now, could get to 4. But you got a bunch of guys under par right now. And that's not, and here's the thing, the rain is supposed to come at some point this weekend, probably Saturday over there, and it's going to get even softer. So there's all of this talk of you're going to be over par is going to win it. It doesn't feel that way now. It feels like if the course doesn't take out its revenge right now, today and tomorrow, by the time we get to this weekend, you could see something else entirely. I mean, there's nothing to protect it other than the rough. I mean, there's and the speed. The speed is what protects it. But you got guys. I watch guys on 10. They're hitting iron off of 10, driving it in the middle, and away they go. Yeah. What happened to the brute that is Oakmont?
Bryson and his 3D printed irons just got to 1 under. So you're setting up for a wacky weekend, but in the other direction in which you thought this weekend might go.
Did we play that yesterday?
No. Would you like to hear it?
So
Bryson had a hell of a press conference on Tuesday.
Yes, he did.
It was pretty good.
It was very good. So the setup to this is he changed.
Oh, we don't have it anymore. It was deleted.
Okay. So he changed his irons, and he 3D prints his irons. He's like a scientist, and all of his irons are the same length, so he has the same swing theoretically on every club. Well, not theoretically, that's his whole process. He has the exact same swing no matter what the club is. And yeah, he did have a hell of a press conference. He talked about the future with Liv and all of those things very candidly. Was pretty open about, hey, it's about the money. That's kind of where we're at. It's target practice. Adam Scott just put it within 3 feet on 8. It's a piece of cake, man. What happened? I thought an 18 handicap wouldn't break 200. Was this all nonsense? Did they just rope-a-dope us into thinking? So now all of a sudden you got J.J. Spawn at 4 under on his first 9, and oh my God, these guys. Was this all just rope-a-dope?
I mean, it'd be a good job out of Oakmont and every YouTube golfer that does content. Because for the past 2 weeks, I had him out there, and they're like, this course is actually going to eat people. And so far, they're eating on the course.
Yeah. Spawn's 4 under. Woodland is 3. McIlroy is 2. DeChambeau's now 1 under. As he's off, he's on. Put it pretty tight. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have some scoring here. I'll tell you we'll have Tim May on, which is one of my favorite appearances he does all year round, is when he joins us from like in between a fairway and at the U.S. Open, as he does every year. It seems to me like it would be a hell of a place to watch golf, because whatever you think about taking out 15,000 trees, and they've been out for a long time, but they were one of the first ones to do it. Whatever you think about eliminating all of those trees, and if you like the look of it or not, you could stand, it looks to me like you could stand at various places on this course and see 5 holes kind of all at once. You think about your Memorial Tournament, like a lot of times you have 2 choices as a spectator. You're either following a group or you just park on a hole. It seems here like if you park on one of these grandstands, you could kind of see several things all at once. From a spectator standpoint, it looks like an A+.
It's good news for our reception purposes. I think in the past when we've had Tim live from these events, he just been unable to. He's trying to find, a spot to get a cell phone signal under a tree. And it's like, you're 20 minutes outside of Pittsburgh now. You're basically in a field. You'd be good.
He had great reception at LACC 2 years ago. He had great. He was at that. What's the one that's? There was a U.S. Open there a couple of years ago, like in upstate New York, that he was at. And then last year at Pinehurst, he was like in the trees, trying to like get away so he could get reception. I remember that. Yeah, well. But the other thing that was kind of rope-a-doped was Rory McIlroy must have just been working stuff at the RBC last week when he shot 80 and missed the cut, because he looks great early. He looks like he's dialed in and ready to go on this thing. And I think if you're the USGA, if you're NBC and Peacock, this is working out pretty well. Oberg is 2 under, McIlroy's 2 under, DeChambeau is back to 1 after bogeying his first. Scotty's going to go this afternoon. Normally in these circumstances, the morning pairings it's a little bit easier for them. There's still a little dew. The course is still a little bit soft. My hunch is that it will dry out tremendously over the course of the day, and then today and tomorrow should be the 2 toughest days, because, like I said, that it's rain coming on Saturday. So it's one of those things where this thing could soften up, and I don't think anybody had 4 under halfway through the first round leading this thing. I mean, this is playing like a PGA Tour stop, man.
So you bring up Scotty. I look at most of my sports through a gambling perspective. Now that a dozen of first of all, you shouldn't, if you want value, don't bet on golf, but that's besides the point I'm trying to make. There's a dozen golfers that are off to a hot start. Does that just destroy the 75-80% of people that have bet on Scotty Scheffler to win this? Like, is this a terrible sign of things to come if you're a Scotty Scheffler backer?
I think the most fun you can do is bet on golf.
Well, yeah, from a fun perspective, but I'm talking about if you're actually trying to, make money gambling on sports.
What I like about it is I had a time once in Vegas. This was years ago. It was the year Charles Schwartzel won, and I imagine this is similar for Scotty now, D. All of it was in the Masters. Tiger was in the mix, and all of the money was on Tiger because everybody wants to bet on Tiger.
Right.
And so what we did was bet everybody on the leaderboard other than Tiger.
Smart.
So I was watching people, and they're running up. And because what you can do in Vegas, and now you can do it anywhere. I'm sure you do it at Hollywood Casino, ESPN Bet, wherever you go, you can bet in the middle of it. So the odds are live as it's going. So we got like Charles Schwartzel at 16-1 to win the Masters. And he was in the mix kind of the whole time. And basically we surrounded the leaderboard. We just bet everybody other than Tiger and ended up crushing it. So, yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about the Scotty betting thing, to your point, is there's value all around it to be able to throw something in on it. But I think I'll be curious to see how low these guys go, because it could be something where Scotty's going to have to put a number up. I mean, you're talking at 4 under through your front 9 of a U.S. Open. That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to have 4 under by Sunday, let alone on your front 9. We'll open up the mailbag coming up next. Paul Finebaum at 10:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making for a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us, because you want your intimacy to be fantastic both for you and the one you love. At Tri-State Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%, and because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you, which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. And for a limited time, we're offering new patients a free first visit to help you get the care you deserve. This includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose to demonstrate to you the amazing effectiveness of our treatments. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. From sold-out stadiums under Friday night lights to more than 100,000 screaming fans on the banks of the Olentangy, America's football capital is right here in Ohio. But the greatest football players and coaches of all time live up the road in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And a trip there should be on every football fan's list. Go to 971thefan.com/goldjacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion. Relive the glory.
We've discovered the perfect morning ritual, the 2 for $6 breakfast sandwich deal at Tim Hortons. Every sandwich is made to order with a freshly cracked egg and melty cheese, just the way breakfast should be. Choose between savory sausage or hickory smoked bacon, served on a toasted English muffin or flaky biscuit. There's no wrong way to mix and match this tasty deal. 2 breakfast sandwiches, just $6. Perfect. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, single item at regular menu price. Modifications and tax extra. Exclusions and additional terms apply.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Celebrate Father's Day and update your lawn with a little help from Ohio Mulch. Whether it's fresh mulch, rich soil, or expert lawn care products, a beautiful landscape, well, it begins with Ohio Mulch. Right now, get 5 bags of mulch or soil for just $10.95. Make your weekend project easier in the yard. Well, it'll be the envy of the block. Visit OhioMulch.com or stop by your local store. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there from your friends at Ohio Mulch.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply. Cleaner, greener, better.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Evan Cohen here. It's time to turn things up a notch. This summer, don't binge watch shows. Binge s'mores by the campfire. Press pause on the podcast and press play on the warm weather vibes. Here's your chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. What are you waiting for? Take your shot with 5-Hour Energy and make this summer your best summer ever. Visit 5heshot.com for full details and rules and to enter today. No purchase necessary. Ends June 30th, 2025.
This just in, the NFL schedule has dropped
And you know what that means. It's go time. Adam Schefter here with the Insider Tip. If you're trying to catch your team live this season, Vivid Seats is the move. For the best selection of games and seats, it's time to snap your tickets up now. Vivid Seats has great deals on great seats and the only rewards program in the game. It's no wonder they're the official ticketing partner of ESPN. So don't wait. Head to vividseats.com or download the app and lock in those game days.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's the final day of mandatory minicamp for the Bengals and Browns. This morning, Cincinnati's first-round pick Shamar Stewart has left team facilities. The 17th overall pick out of Texas A&M has not signed his rookie deal. The two sides are in dispute over contract language that would void future guarantees. In golf, J.J. Spawn leads at 4 under as the first round of the U.S. Open rolls along at Oakmont. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau is 1 under. He's through 4. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler will tee off this afternoon shortly before 1:30. In the NHL, the Panthers host the Oilers tonight at 8 in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida's got a 2-1 lead in the series. And Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork will hold a press conference today at 1 o'clock. We'll carry his comments on the Fan during Rothman and Ice. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy's office at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour on a Thursday. Time to open up that mailbag.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. Again.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
Reese Ross Bjork, 1 o'clock. Rothman and Ice, is that right? They'll carry that?
Yep.
That'll be a good one. To that end, this one from Joe, the subject, longtime listener, by the way. Thank you, Joe. OSU sports fallout from the House bill. Hi, Bo. The school actually started making cuts to other sports in preparation for this last summer. My daughter is a cheerleader at Ohio State, and soon after Ross was brought on, their budget was cut. They were ordered to reduce the size of the team, and their team trainer was removed. By removing the team trainer, it also removed their ability to compete at the collegiate national cheer competition held once a year at the Wide World of Sports in Disney. A trainer must be present during practice due to possible injuries caused by the complexity of the routine needed to compete at nationals. This was a team that, while not revenue producing, was the only Division I team in the country to finish in the top 5 every year from 17 to 23. The coach has since resigned after having his hands tied, and several of her teammates have transferred to schools where they are still allowed to compete. Sad to see your child's dream crushed to fund other sports. Man, I feel for you. It sucks. It sucks that this is what it is. We did this a couple of days ago where we went through the men's sports, Reese, and kind of said, like, how are we going to make put yourself. It was not fun to be in the position that Ross Bjork was in and say, yeah, we need this, but we don't need this. We're going to have this, but we don't have this. This is awful. This is awful. But unfortunately, Joe, the adults in the room let us here. They let us here because they never did anything along the way to head this off. They drove the damn boat into the iceberg, man. And now they've left the courts to sort it out. And the reality is when you let courts to sort it out, then you have to look at things in a much more business way. And by the way, all of those people that are asking you, that are cutting these things, like, they're not giving back their salaries, right? They're going to keep making their money, so there are casualties. And unfortunately, your daughter's cheer program at Ohio State is one of them already. And we're going to have more stories like this, guys. So I guess the question Ohio State's going to have to answer if you're Ross Bjork is, what sports matter most to us? And does it make more sense to do a portion of what we used to do in this sport, or to eliminate the sport altogether? That's really going to be the challenge. Which would you have? What to me feels like a neutered cheerleading program, or none at all. That's going to be the conversation they have to have, and they're going to have to do it with every single sport other than football and men's basketball.
I do think And I fully expect that around 1 o'clock today, Ross Bjork comes out and he echoes his statement from earlier in the week and that Ohio State will keep all 36 varsity sports. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to choose to believe that they're going to do everything they can to keep everything a sport. Now, will that include that cuts are going to be made everywhere? Like, I do fully expect maybe outside of football. I mean, Ryan's already added more assistance to that. But all of the other sports, cuts and trimming, because that's going to need to be the ask for this as they go from $20.5 million this year to $39 million. What's going to be shared with athletic revenue coming up here in the next decade or so. So I really hope they can keep all the 36 sports. So I'm going to choose to believe Ross Bjork right now when he says, and when he comes out and says at 1 o'clock, we're keeping everything. It's a big sticking point in the legacy of Gene Smith. I choose to believe that that's going to be the case, but it is going to come with cuts because nobody's ever done anything like this before, so nobody knows the proper way to go about any of it. And it changes by the minute, it feels like.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So right or wrong, fair or not, I hope, right?
Yeah.
I think you're right, Reese, but from a practical standpoint, I mean, maybe this year he does come out and they keep all the sports, but I think you're just kicking the can down the road in that scenario where if it's not this year, it's next year, the year after that some sports are going to have to go. And it's going to turn into mainly a lot of these sports are going to have to be essentially glorified club sports, I feel like, in the end. And you know, especially here in Columbus, it's like football is king and then men's basketball is next, and then there's only going to be a few other programs besides that get to survive, and all the other sports are just going to be glorified club.
Yeah, and I don't know what's better, to eliminate a program entirely or to do it at the club type level or slightly above a club type level. I don't know which is better, to eliminate it entirely or to still do it, but do it in a kind of, the only word that comes into my mind is half-assed way, like not all-in way. I don't know. But I said this the other day. The non-revenue sports are going to have to get used to being treated not like football, even more than they have in the past. Like all of the chartered flights and the gear and all of that stuff, like all of that's going to have to come back because you can't lose ground in football. And that's why this is it all sucks. It all sucks. This one from Nate. The subject is punt and kick return touchdowns. Bo, I recently emailed you about Ted Ginn and the Troy Smith era and how exciting it was to watch Ted Ginn return kicks for touchdowns. It got me wondering why we don't see nearly as many punt and kick return touchdowns for touchdowns these days. I came up with 3 possible conclusions. Could it be the teams have adjusted how they defend punt returns now? Are teams not having their most explosive players return punts and are settling for guys who will just surely catch the ball? He feels like Ohio State does this now. Or is it possible that guys like Ted Ginn and Devin Hester are outliers who just happen to play during the same era? I don't think it's any of those. I think kickers are better. I think now guys just routinely kick it out of the end zone. Routinely. I think punters are better. Go watch an NFL, or you mentioned Ted Ginn, Troy Smith. Go watch an NFL or college game from the 90s or 20s, the early 2000s. Watch where they're making kicks from. Think of what's now routine in the NFL to routinely make 50-some-yard field goals. That used to be a big deal. You made a 50-yarder. So I think it's the kickers. I think the kickers have gotten better, and they're able to place the ball and direct it better because of specialization. That's my theory on it, guys.
And I could be wrong here, but it felt like Ted Ginn was one of the first times you were like, definitely don't kick it to that guy. Like there were probably others, but just I remember in my life it was like, no, absolutely do the exact opposite of putting the ball near him. And I think to your point about the specialization of kicking, I mean, they've got camps for it in Australia where they're bringing up Aussie kickers. And so just the mechanics of kicking and the mechanics of the kickoff and everything everything related to special teams has become so fine-tuned since the year 2000, since the year 2005, that it's just everybody's more aware and better.
Yeah, I think the factors that he brought up are there, but it's definitely more about how, like Reeser said, the specialization of everything. I mean, how much money are special teams coordinators making nowadays? Geez, you better figure out how to stop a kickoff return or a punt return. Yeah. And like you said, the kickers, the punters are just, I think it's more about the hang time than the distance on a punt. Like,
They're
I
just
think
better.
punters are figuring that out, that the ball's so far up in the air that the punter returner doesn't even have a chance to return it. He has no other choice but to fair catch it or fear for his life.
Absolutely. This one from Brad. I've been listening since 2020. You immediately became my main fan show. We thank you, Brad. I'll go far as to say that you three, and I'll throw D in there because he's killing it as a Philman. He's a big fan. That's a good job. Do, in fact, act accordingly. However, I do have a slight pushback about the Steelers fan and how happy they are about Rodgers. All 10 or so of the Steelers fans I know are pretty disappointed. They admit they don't know the quarterback that would realistically be the answer right now, but they, like myself, think Rodgers is truly cooked. I'd be curious to hear what the Steelers fans and your listenership think. I think that you said what most of them thought through much of this process. But my hunch is, Brad, that by the time you get to training camp and he plays well, and I think he will play well, I think you're going to jump on board pretty quickly. I think it's a pretty easy bandwagon to jump on. And I don't think he's all the way cooked. I don't think he is what he was in Green Bay, but there was plenty of instances last year where he showed signs of life. I think it's one of those things as a fan that you're going to be able to talk yourself into this pretty quickly by the time you get to camp. But I think most Steeler fans feel the way he does initially.
Yeah, I imagine like there's apathy with it. They're like, okay, it still puts our floor the same place we had before we signed Aaron Rodgers to this. Like they're not going anything worse than 500 with or without Rodgers in a quarterback uniform. But I think the more you see him and the more he's able to look really good against air at OTAs, at minicamp, probably into training camp, I think the more excited you'll get. I mean, I think it's like a lot of fan bases that are trotting on a new quarterback into a season. You go, well, I don't know what we got with this guy. And then if he's as quality as 75% four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, you'd be like, that'll work.
Yep.
And then you'll get excited.
Yeah, you will.
I guess I just still don't understand the rhetoric of some people thinking Aaron Rodgers is cooked. Like, what have we seen to, like, last year he played pretty well. Just go look at the stats. And then the year before that, he's out with an Achilles tear. And his last year in Green Bay wasn't too shabby. So I don't understand where on the field these people that say Aaron Rodgers is cooked have seen him be done. I personally don't understand it.
Not all the way. Certainly. I'm with you on that. All right. Lots more to get to in the mailbag, including subject question for Reeser.
No.
It's a serious one.
Uh-oh.
Buckle up. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Save a whole lot more all summer long with hot deals on Meyer brand must-haves.
Like Meyer bottled water?
24 packs for $2.99.
How about Meyer freezer pops?
Yeah, for just $1.99.
Meyer Quencher sparkling water?
69 cents each plus deposit where applicable.
What about ingredients for s'mores?
Of course. Meyer marshmallows for $1, Meyer graham crackers for $2, and Meyer 6-pack chocolate bars for $4 all summer long.
Now that's a good deal better.
Only at Meyer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $2,000 off BX 2380 tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by CEC Turf and Tractor in Athens, Canal, Winchester, Lancaster, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota tractors and mowers, or check them out online at CECTurfandTractor.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Summer is officially here, and that means rising temperatures. You're going to be thinking about how you can keep cool all summer long. What's the best plan here? Well, one of the ways you can beat the heat and keep the air conditioning you're paying for in your home is to get Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. And now's a great time to do it. They've got a semi-annual sale where you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows for free. Plus a free entry door when you purchase a whole house full of windows. No money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. It's a deal that can't be beat. You're getting a great deal from Window Nation because they are high-efficiency windows that are also very affordable. They do that by working directly with the top window manufacturers in the country, which means all their windows are assembled right here in the USA. But don't wait on that semi-annual sale. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free. Free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, plus pay nothing until 2027. You've got to schedule your estimate today. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Once again, that number, 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
It's graduation season, a time to celebrate the end of an era and the beginning of a whole new story. At Diamonds Direct, We believe moments like these deserve to be remembered beautifully. Honor your graduate with a timeless gift. A birthstone ring, a classic pendant, diamond studs, or an heirloom piece they'll treasure forever. No pressure, all sparkle. And expert guidance every step of the way. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Austin and Berm are back with a new daily podcast, the ultimate OSU football insiders. You know, it's refreshing to have some smart people working here from time to time.
The Beat with Austin and Berm on the 10 TV Plus app.
Subscribe today.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship. I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can bowl the winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Air quality alert back in place through later tonight, and it could be the hottest day of the year with afternoon highs soaring into the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees with mostly sunny and somewhat hazy skies. Mostly cloudy tonight, and then chances of showers and storms are back into the forecast on Friday. Otherwise, partly to mostly cloudy and highs in the upper 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Catch the latest from the world of Ohio State athletics. Weeknights at 6 on the Buckeye Show. New special guests and everything scarlet and gray. The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are proud to be sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 78 years. We continue with a rather full mailbag. Reese, this one for you. The subject from Vince. Question for Reeser. This is important. Take your time on this. What is the proper etiquette for saving parade spots in Upper Arlington? If I put my chairs out first, is the property owner obligated to let me sit there? Or should I expect a message that says my stuff is in a nearby dumpster? Early Happy Independence Day. This is your Super Bowl.
And to you as well, Vince. The property owner is under no obligation to save your spot.
Oh, baby.
But I do think it is widely understood that if your chair's out there, it shouldn't go anywhere. You touch my chair, I touch you, I think is the phrase that I've said and will continue to say from now until eternity. We live in a civilized society.
That's right.
Damn it. If I can't have my chair on a Memorial Day weekend in advance of a 4th of July parade, what can I do? In America, my grandpappy fought in World War II for this very right, and I'll be damned if anybody will mess with anybody's chairs while they're out on Northwest Boulevard in advance of the UA 4th of July parade.
So you're saying it is the property owner's right to remove your chair, but it is your right to do something about them removing your chair.
Oh, no, it's not your right to do something about it, but it is their right to move it if they feel it's their property. But usually they won't.
Usually we live in a society.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that this is what we do. Yeah.
Every 4th of July, every year, if you live on Northwest Boulevard, and
this is part of it.
This is it's almost in like the terms of the lease agreement or in your
Right.
mortgage, or like the deed to the house says on the 4th of July, and in the 30 days preceding it, residents of the community are subject to put chairs on your property.
Did you say 30 days before?
I did say Memorial Day weekend.
Oh.
I think there's been some work on Northwest Boulevard. I think it was between Zollinger and Lane Avenue. I think they've done some work either street sweeping or maybe or they're replacing some curbs. So I don't think it's been as active right now, but I think in the coming days, you'll start to see a couple.
All right. Very
good
strong
email, Vince.
Great job out of Vince. I thought you'd be excited about that. I got one from the great Snagglepuss, who apparently he was a Snagglepuss and I have a lot in common, but apparently he was a Mad Men guy at the beginning, and it's a crazy kind of circumstance. But his roommate at the time, not roommate, but a guy he knew at the time, apparently ran into me like in 2007 and told him to watch Mad Men, and it got the guy on board. So apparently this connection goes back to 2007. It's crazy. It's a great email out of Snagglepuss, but it's a wild circumstances. So good job out of that. All right, here's one from Greg. The subject, Ryan Day and his decisions. Good morning, fellas. Throughout the great history of Ohio State, each legendary coach at Ohio State has had some type of turmoil. Woody punching a player, Coop with Robert Smith, Tress lying to the NCAA about Tatgate, Urban with Zach Smith, so forth and so on. Ryan Day has been flawless on every angle of picking coaching and recruiting players. I can remember holding my breath at this time of year, hoping and praying that someone on the team didn't get a DUI or some type of trouble in the offseason with all the previous head coaches. During Ryan Day's coaching tenure, not one issue has occurred. Even Kirby can't keep the car between the lines. It's a good line there. My question is, do you think Ryan Day is running the cleanest program in college football, and is Ryan Day running the cleanest program in Ohio State history? Can you please ask Finebaum his opinion? P.S. Any updates on Anthony Schlegel on the program weekly? I'll work on that. I'll work on that, Greg. I'll do a little surviving with Schlegs as we used to. If he's game for it, it's a very good point. I think C.J. Barnett deserves a lot of credit for this. I think he's kind of the perfect guy to keep guys on the straight and narrow on a regular basis. But I've thought about this in the past, too, in terms of it's been, and knock on wood, we haven't really had any offseason drama around here with the football team in a long time. It was pretty solid under Urban, too. I remember Carlos Hyde, but that was a long time ago. I just haven't had many.
I mean, JT had a DUI situation.
That's right. That's with Urban. Yeah, that's right. The JT, I forgot about the JT DUI. That was one. But it's few and far between. So I don't know if it's the cleanest program in college football. But I will say this, in terms of NCAA, in terms of guys getting in trouble, it's the least that I've seen in major college football is what it's been with Ryan Day. And again, I think C.J. Barnett is a big part of that in terms of the way that he kind of administers everything and keeps everybody locked in. But he might have a point. He might have a point. There's not much under Ryan Day's watch.
I think to your point, to his point, yes, to answer his question, it's a clean program. But when he said the word turmoil, I immediately thought there's been plenty of turmoil with consecutive losses to Michigan during the offseason.
Sure.
That's his. He mentioned all the other coaches and what they kind of went through while they were here. Ryan Day's turmoil is his losing streak to Michigan. That's his turmoil.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, Coop had that. Obviously, in the 90s, he dealt with that for a long time. You win the national title, and that changes that perspective a little bit. But yeah, it's been relatively quiet. It's been all quiet on the Western Front, Reese.
Yeah, I said this, I think, after the national championship. Like, this is a program with the people involved you can be proud of.
Yeah.
Now, you might not be happy with. To Dylan's point, 4 straight against the rival is not something that can be ignored or glossed over, or but the people, you can have great pride in the human beings that are there.
It's a it's two different things, right? It's two separate things. One is on the field for whatever reason, what's happened in that game, and the other is the off-field stuff, and there's been nothing on that front. And I think part of that is also because of what all of those coaches did, but Coop into Tress, into Urban, and then Urban going very national with recruiting. Once this place became NFLU, you don't have to take a flyer on anybody. They don't have to take. Bobby Bowden used to say, if you recruit somebody who's suspect, if you choose not to recruit him, Miami will. So you're either going to play him and have him on your team, or you're going to play against him. And oftentimes he would choose the idea of them playing for him rather than playing against them when it came to some of the suspect stuff that was out there in terms of behavior. This one from Nick. Best NFL team since the 2000s. His message: hey, everyday listener, you guys talked about the best college football teams of the past 25 years. What team in the NFL would you personally say is the best you've seen since 2000? I don't care that they lost the Super Bowl. I'm always going to say the 2007 Patriots are the best team I ever watched. He's 35, parenthetically. Not only do they have the GOAT at coach, quarterback, and some wide receiver, but they also had a top 5 defense, unlike the 13 Broncos at 19. They had a lot of star power on defense from their first dynasty. By the way, if you're looking for a new show, the wife and I love the show Severance. I watched a couple episodes. Didn't take yet, but I'm told I need to stay with it. This is probably a bigger one, a bigger topic, but I like the idea. The Greatest Show on Turf, Rams kind of had that feeling too, and they lost to the Patriots in the 2000s. That was the first Super Bowl I ever covered, was when the Patriots beat him on the Vinatieri kick. There's some Mahomes Chiefs teams. His first team was bombshell. That Patriots team in 07's up there. Those all jump out to me. When you have that, what jumps out to you guys? Best team you've seen? What's the best NFL team you've seen in your lifetime?
It is that 07 Patriots. I mean, it's Tom Brady, Randy Moss.
Yeah.
The idea of what had to happen for the Giants to win that Super Bowl is an incredible story. It was an incredible finish to the actual season. Mm-hmm. But that team was a juggernaut.
Yeah, I think
miracle plays had to happen to beat them.
Yeah, quite literally caught it on his helmet.
Helmet catch, David Tyree, right? That's his name.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It's the 07 Patriots, and I feel like if those Patriots and those Giants played 100 times, the Patriots are probably beating them like 90 times.
They beat them. It was really tight at the end of the regular season. Remember, they played in like week 16.
It was the last game.
Game. It was really tight, and there was something about that matchup that the Giants were good with. Real quick, this one from Sean. Dog stank concoction. I have a 3-year-old lab who recently got in a battle with a skunk. The concoction below worked for me. I would rub this into his fur before you spray any water on him. Let it sit for 10 minutes. Then after you rinse this off, give him a bath with normal dog shampoo. Hope it helps, and go Bucks. The concoction is 1 quart of 3% hydrogen peroxide, 1/2 cup baking soda, 2 teaspoons dish soap. And that worked. Good to know. Good to know. I do think it's important, he says, and then give him his normal bath with doggy shampoo. Yes, I think that's a good job out of him. So we appreciate that. Great job with everybody in the mailbag this week. Paul Finebaum in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Billy.
Hi, I'm Billy Hatcher, a former professional baseball player, and I'm a patient at Tri-State Men's Health. Before I started the treatment, it was like my body was sore all the time, and I was feeling very, very sluggish. One day, I would be full of energy, and the next day was like, where did all my energy go? And since I've started, my body hasn't felt this good in a long time. I feel like, I'm not 21 to 25 again. It's just been great. I feel very, very comfortable coming here. When you have the energy, it's amazing. You get to do so many other things that you couldn't do prior to that. If you're tired of hurting in the mornings, you want to improve your health, you want to feel better, give a call to Tri-State Men's Health. I promise you, you will feel better.
Thanks, Billy. It's true. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks, trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum, sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
Well, buddy, since last we talked, 9:30 on a Friday. Hey, we can pay players. You want to do a Friday news dump, 9:30 Eastern on a Friday is about as news dumpy as it can be, my man.
Yeah, Bo, I was on a plane Friday night, and I appreciated everybody around me telling me what had happened, like I didn't know. But it was a good way to ruin the weekend, knowing that we would have to be talking about this nonsense. Well, we're still talking about it, and I'm sure your audience is sick of it. I am sick of it. And I'm really still not sure what it all means other than how you laid it out, because the appeals are coming in and most of it will probably be undone.
That's it exactly. It's exhausting. And yet I also don't want to be flip with the idea of that. Look, this is the first time in the sport that you and I talk about the most that you're above board and going to pay players, and you can. And now what I think is, and this is a tough talk because you go through these athletic departments, you say, okay, how are we going to make this work? And some uncomfortable conversation going to be had with some of the other sports. That part is still significant, and we all knew it was coming. But the idea that's now where we are, and we have a press conference with Ross Bjork coming here in 2.5 hours. But that's kind of the now what part is what's interesting. But that part is significant that part got done, is it not?
Yes, and I was asking the commissioner of the SEC about that the other day, and here's somebody like Ross and others who have always championed women's sports, and he said, ultimately, we have to make money. And I mean, there was no hey, we think they're great, Caitlin Clark, et cetera. I mean, and that's really the issue. Probably the most prominent women's basketball program in the country last year was swimming in ink. And I don't know where they go from there. The Olympic sports, I think, are in dire straits. I mean, I'm probably most interested in what Bjork says, because nobody's got more sports than Ohio State.
Yeah, us too. I mean, I think he said that he wants to try and keep all 36, but there's just no scenario. I mean, Texas has fewer total sports than Ohio State has men's sports. So there's just no scenario where you're going to keep all of this. And so you're going to be left with decisions of, do we, for lack of a better term, kind of half-ass these Olympic sports, or do them in a neutered place at best? Or do we just get rid of them entirely? And when you talk to folks, and the SEC's been ahead of the game on this, because most of those athletic departments are relatively small in comparison to what we have up here. It's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I remember years ago somebody got rid of wrestling, and you thought the world was coming to an end, but they were ahead of the game. I think what's interesting, and not to bore the audience with our own travails, but in every industry I've been in, from print newspapers to radio to now TV, we've seen this reckoning, and it's come hard, and now it's coming to college sports. It's not coming for the same reasons, but ultimately college sports is no longer going to be a humanitarian entity. It's where the eyeballs are and where the cash register rings, and your tennis program is not going to be that.
Yeah, and to me, I remember a spot, and I'm curious if you have a similar spot. I remember I was down in Tallahassee at the time, and Bowden was the highest paid coach in college football, and then Mac Brown got that deal at Texas, and I want to say it was right after they won the national title in 2005, and you went, oh, that's a lot of money, and it was like, and it just keeps getting there. It's gotten growing. I mean, Ryan Day makes $12 million a year. Kirby's making 13, 14. None of those guys are giving their money back, and I'm not suggesting that they should. But was there a point for you where essentially the sport crossed the Rubicon and the money got too big?
Yeah, I mean, I still remember the first $1 million coach. I think it was Bowden and then Spurrier, and we're talking about the 90s.
Yeah.
I know I'm not answering your question yet, but when Saban was hired in 2000, and I'm trying to remember, 2007 at Alabama, the head of the board of trustees said this is absurd to pay a man $4 million a year. Now, by the way, that guy was a billionaire. But he said that's CEO money, but now it's doubled and in some places tripled. But I still think the Sabins and the Ryan Days and the Brian Kellys earn their money. They're at the most valuable tip of the spear in the athletic department. It's just some of the other coaches I have to wonder about. Some of these basketball coaches who really are not bringing in anything, making $3 to $5 million a year.
You just brought that up with, and I always thought that was for appearances with Don Staley and the salary at South Carolina. And you say, well, does this make sense to do this? And it was like, well, we have this money, we got to spend it, and we got it. It's like arbitrarily they decided, well, this is the women's program that we're going to put a lot of money behind, and we're going to pay this coach as if it's the men's coach in basketball, which is a revenue generator, or football. And that's the thing that it's interesting to me along the way, how they've made these decisions on how to kind of dole out this money, and now it's time to pay the piper. And where do you even begin?
And both the problem, and Ross can attest to this better than I can, but the problem is really a couple of super agents, namely one, Jimmy Sexton, who mortgages coaches against athletic directors who do not want to be destroyed on social media. So they'll pay. And it's not like this is the family inheritance. It's money that they can always get. And fans, they may react in the moment that somebody's making $12 million a year, but just wait for a Vince Marrow to leave a Kentucky for Louisville, which may not be a big story nationally, but you guys know about what it means. And all of a sudden, fans who don't really know very much are going to go crazy.
Well, the crazy thing about the Vince Morrow stuff, and he's an Ohioan, we know him very well, and he was kind of Stoops' main linchpin in recruiting at Kentucky, and he goes to Louisville, and then I think I saw this right, Paul, that he's going to make he's a full-time fundraiser, and he's going to now be paid commission on money earned. Is that what we're doing?
That is correct, and really, even though insiders at Kentucky tell me he had somewhat been lost his usefulness, it doesn't matter. It makes it look like Mark Stoops is about to get fired, and guess what? Mark Stoops is about to get fired, even though the school owe him $30 million. I mean, it's almost an identical situation to Cal, except Mark Stoops doesn't have the charisma that Cal did, nor does he have a national championship or the resume.
No, and let's stay in Kentucky for a second, because I think that's going to be a fascinating one. If you are at Kentucky or a place like that, and maybe the one up here that would be the best example would be Michigan State, and you say, hey, we have this money, let's go be the best we can at football. And we just saw this in the Women's World Series. The pitcher from Texas Tech who's making $7 million because somebody at Texas Tech said, we want to try and win a College World Series in softball, and they damn near did. Yeah. Those are the decisions that are going to be fascinating to me. At a place like Kentucky, when they have this money that they now have to be spent, how are they going to allocate? Because we do everything from a football perspective, but for them, it's hoops. So how do they balance that?
I think that's probably the toughest question that I've had, because the fans like football, but they live and breathe basketball. So that might be the only outlier, and it is. I cannot wait to see that one, and I don't know the answer. But if football gets 70%. There's going to be a lot of people who are screaming about that. I bet. I'm pretty sure I know it won't.
No, I think you're probably right on that. Hey, I want to get your view of this, and you've been around a lot of great coaches, and I was listening to Urban this week talking about the Lincoln Riley spot at USC, and I think we can all kind of agree that he's probably got as much pressure as anybody in the country, although Kalen DeBoer's got a lot of pressure year two at Alabama too, and there's all sorts of places that do. But Urban said something that he still viewed USC as a top 5 job. And I push back from this perspective of I'm not sure that it still is. I understand why perhaps people would say that, and I've had John Cooper tell me that as well, and others have said that there's this USC thing. But it's really the Carroll years where they were elite. But other than that, and you got to go back to the 70s if not for that. Is that still a top 5 job in your estimation? And because of everything that's happened in the last couple of years, has how we define a top 5 job changed?
Yes. I mean, listen, I understand why Urban would say that, but he's wrong. And it's not close to being a top 5 job. Now, it can be, but that wasn't the question. I mean, until a couple of years ago, people talked about Nebraska being one of the biggest brands in college football, when we both know it is not.
Yeah.
Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. I just gave you 4 names. USC isn't ahead of them, and I could probably come up with quite a few more right now, including Oregon, maybe Penn State, things like that. So Southern Cal has fallen hard, and right now it's on Lincoln Riley. Now, when he was hired, I thought you could say that, but when you fall out when you haven't been to a playoff, you can't be a top 5 job.
No, you can't. Real quick, I'll get you out of here on this. Top of your head, which SEC coach is going to face the most pressure when we get back into camp?
Yeah, I think it's still going to be Brian Kelly because for all the hype that his school is getting, he cannot afford anything but a playoff season.
Yeah, it's time. He's got the returning quarterback and all of it. All right, buddy, good stuff as always. Thanks for your time.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Bo.
All right, there he goes, Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show of ESPN and the SEC Network, joining on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll play a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Introducing Ice Cream Quakes from UDF. Big chunks of your favorite candies and cookies blended with real UDF ice cream. Made the way you want. Real creamy, real chunky, real. Ice Cream Quakes. New from United Dairy Farmers.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of 4, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
We could tell you what makes Giant Eagle special, but we think our customers say it best.
I love the fresh produce. I love the fresh meat.
I'm pretty sure the fish guy knows me by now. We're buds.
I love to grill. That alone keeps me coming back.
The people that work here are so nice and so helpful.
Everybody loves the cakes from Giant Eagle.
On every shelf, in every department, we're always going for better because being your Giant Eagle matters.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something.
Does it solve a problem?
It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay ECO to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get ECO to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying ECO to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Don't settle for ordinary this summer when adventure awaits. Make memories that will last forever only at your Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, Central Ohio's family destination for fun. Plan your perfect summer trip at columbuszoo.org.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. And you'll become a role model, mentor, and decision maker in any environment, at any scale. It's a challenging path, but along the way, you'll sharpen your skills and show yourself and those around you exactly what you're capable of. Decide to lead at goarmy.com/officer.
The Ohio State University ROTC has scholarships available. Learn more at arotc.osu.edu.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports says Charlie Baker did not attend the two-day Michigan infractions hearing last week, but he received a report from Baker. Quote, "It was a thorough hearing of the issues, and everybody that wanted to speak their piece, for the most part, got it," end quote. Dellinger says the NCAA expects a ruling in 30 to 90 days. Thing or not a thing?
30 to 90 days?
Mm-hmm.
This is years ago, man. Like, come on. 30 to 90 days? How many hearings? How long does it take? Have some stones. Make a decision already. And by the way, I was talking to a big Michigan fan last night, and I'm like, what do you think's gonna? I'm just curious from your perspective, like, what do you think's gonna happen here? And his perspective was, well, everyone who did it is gone. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's college athletics. That's what happens. Someone's got to have a pound of flesh for this thing. So who knows what's going to happen? But it's just so disappointing at how lethargic they are with these rules. I mean, this has been going on forever. Forever. It's enough. Why do you need 30 to 90 days? Just be done. Make a ruling. Have some guts.
It's a thing for me, but I'm going to take the 30 to 90 days, and I'm going to take it into a half glass full perspective and say it's only going to be 30 to 90 days before we finally get some closure on this situation. And that's the way I'm looking at it, because it, like you said, it has been years already. And I think most of college football fan bases, if they care on a scale of like 1 to 10, they care about like a 4 to 5 on this. The Ohio State fan base is more like a 7 to 8, and I just think that our fan base, maybe an 11. The fan base needs.
I get asked about this more than anything else.
Closure.
Anything else.
Closure is needed. So I'm taking this as 30 to 90 days until we finally get closure on an issue that's been 2 to 3 years in the making.
Demand justice.
I'll just tell you this. Is there another entity in the world that could give you a window of 30 to 90 days? This is like
your
in
local
the old days.
Cable and internet company.
That's where I was going to go.
Like sending our technician.
That's the first thing I thought of. Our technician will be there between 8 and noon. This is 3 times as much time. How is the window 30 to 90? We'll have the issue. We'll have this sorted out in the next 10 to 15 days. Okay, fine. I can live with that. That's reasonable. 30 to 90 days? What are we doing? This is how these idiots got into the spot that they're in with stuff like this. A 3-year-old investigation, and now after all of this, all these years, Jim Harbaugh is going into his 2nd year with the Chargers. And you're telling me 30 to 90? How about 10 to 15? Or even 30 to 40 days? 30 to 90 days. Absurd.
Just for what it's worth, Big Ten Media Days are July 22nd in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's 40 days from now.
That's a smart place to have it.
So
that's a really smart place to have it.
And they say it's not 30 or 50 or 60 or 70.
You know what they should do? This is what the Big Ten should do. We could do a segment on this pretty easily, so I'm going to hijack this one just for a second. Big Ten Media Days should be like in Mackinac Island or Traverse City or the Wisconsin Dells. Go somewhere there like the SEC does with the coast. Go to Sandusky. Take in Cedar Point. Make it drivable for everybody. There's no scenario that the Big Ten should host its media days in Las Vegas in the middle of July. Everybody likes to go to Las Vegas. Nobody wants to go there in July. They go out of their way to make it difficult. Do you know how easy it is for everybody in the SEC to drive to Destin? Hell, they do it all summer anyway. That's where they all vacation. Like, make it easier. Be leaders.
Or legends and do a media days where they've never been done before.
Yeah.
For the Big Ten.
Let's do it in LA. I bet people in LA will pay attention to us if we do a little meeting there in May. Nobody went. Nobody cares.
Speaking with reporters Wednesday, Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, that's still weird to say, says he's having trouble finding a new helmet. The model that he used with the Jets in 2024 has been banned by the league for falling short of the necessary safety standards. From Rodgers, quote, "I can't stand the helmet. I've worn a shut for 20 years and somehow it finally didn't pass the safety standards," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
Never change. Never change, Aaron Rodgers. I guess I understand his point. Like, you've been doing the same thing for 20 years and now all of a sudden it's a problem. We've come so far though in helmet technology too that it's for his own good. He'll get it sorted out, but it's pretty on brand of him to have this. I think Brady went through this too, didn't he? Because he had an old helmet that he played with, and when he got to Tampa Bay, he had to wear the new one. So I think it's one of those things that's come. I mean, it's just one of those things that'll take some time to get used to.
I mean, I'm with you, Bo. I mean, last hour I defended Aaron Rodgers, but this is like exactly why people don't like him. Like, I've never come close to playing quarterback in the NFL, but it is a helmet, sir. Just put one on and play the position. Like, people don't want to hear you complaining about the helmet. Like, the safety standards are the safety standards, and that's it. It didn't pass. Pick a different helmet and play football.
Back on Tuesday, J.K. Dobbins signed a one-year contract with the Denver Broncos. It's a base value of $2.75 million, $2.5 million in reachable incentives, so he can earn about $5.25 this upcoming season. After his first day at minicamp, Dobbins told reporters, quote, "The defense is really good, like super good. The quarterback is amazing. I like the running back room. Offensive line is amazing as well. It was a no-brainer. And Coach Sean Payton and all the other coaches and staff, too. I know I'll get coached well here. I also heard that it's a good fan base. That's why I'm here." End quote. Thing or not a thing?
It's just a what-if thing. Because you just wonder, like, what would it have looked like had he ever been able to stay healthy? It gets nicked. He's just 26, which is crazy. Had a really good year last year, but just the injuries are just so real. I mean, he's had Achilles, ACL. Like, it's wild how he just has not been able to stay healthy, and we'll just never know what might have been. I mean, it's kind of a little version. And we didn't even get like. I was going to say it's similar to like Nick Chubb, but at least Nick Chubb, you got the greatness for 5 years. You're able to see him healthy for 5. We never got to see J.K. healthy.
Yeah, I'm with you again, Bo. It's a thing, but it's a very what-if situation. If he can stay healthy, this can be a big thing, but he has not proven that he can stay healthy, and he has had great stretches of games in Baltimore and with the Chargers. And as an Ohio State fan, I think, and the whole fan base here hopes that he can have one full healthy season and then build on that and have consecutive healthy seasons, but he hasn't been able to do that. But the talent is clearly and obviously there.
All right. I just did this off the top of my head because I think this is a rare genius idea out of this show. I just wrote down like 8 different resorty places the Big Ten around here could hold their media days.
Go to Put-in-Bay and get into fist fights for a week.
Dude, Nemacolin. French Lick has a ridiculous resort Pete Dye course situation there. I mentioned Traverse City. I mentioned Mackinac Island. What is the lake that Threes always went to in Minneapolis? All I can say is Lake Chautauqua, but that's New York. If he's driving and he's hearing me, he's going, "You idiot! It's this one." That one. Wisconsin's got Whistling Straits.
Is it Minnetonka?
That's it. Whistling Straits, Wisconsin Dells. Like, I mean, how many do you need?
I mean, they got 1,000 lakes up in Minnesota, so I just picked the one I've heard.
10,000 of them.
Oh, yeah. I shorted them $9,000.
I got 10 resorts that are all drivable that you can go to in the Big Ten to go do your media days where you could have all the attention that you deserve. And instead, you go to Vegas in July or LA in May. It just sums up all of it. It really does. This isn't that hard. It doesn't have to be. Final hour on a Thursday edition. We kick it off with a little higher, lower Big Ten quarterback rankings. Oh, baby. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan.
It's graduation season. A time to celebrate the end of an era and the beginning of a whole new story. At Diamonds Direct, we believe moments like these deserve to be remembered beautifully. Honor your graduate with a timeless gift. A birthstone ring, a classic pendant, diamond studs, or an heirloom piece they'll treasure forever. No pressure, all sparkle. And expert guidance every step of the way. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
Did you want information on the Ohio Lottery's Easy Play games? Okay. Easy Play games have everything needed to play printed on the ticket, so you never wait for a drawing. And with Easy Play progressive games, they can instantly win the game's jackpot, which oftentimes grow and grow to over $1 million. All lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. Want another commercial? Okay.
Hey guys, it's Timmy Hall from my friends at Orthopedic One, Central Ohio's most trusted orthopedic practice. 2 years ago, I was actually experiencing hip pain for the first time in my life, and I knew I needed the best. So I chose Orthopedic One for my physical therapy needs. And in a matter of weeks, I was rotating that golf swing better than before, and I was the longest hitter in my group again. So be like me and trust Orthopedic One. Several convenient locations around Central Ohio. To find a physician or location near you, go to www.orthopedic1.com.
Talking about guns might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Asking safety questions before a play date, like do you have pets, a pool, are there any unlocked guns in the home, can help keep kids safe. Learn more at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by Ohio Health and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Ron from the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com. Or stop in today at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway in Grove City.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here, and so are the summer savings at RCD RV. Don't miss RCD RV's summer kickoff sale running June 7th through the 21st. New RVs starting as low as $12,995. Now's the time to make a splash this summer. Hurry in. Those deals will not last long. Find unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, and everything you need to hit the road at rcdrv.com. Visit our locations, Delaware, Heath, and Pataskala, or shop online anytime at rcdrv.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at HIMS.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The first round of the 125th U.S. Open rolls along at Oakmont. J.J. Spawn's your leader at 4 under. Gary Woodland one back at 3 under. Ludwig Oberg and 4 others are at 2 under. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau is at even par. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler will tee off this afternoon shortly before 1:30. In the NFL, Bengals rookie Shamar Stewart has left mandatory minicamp 1 day earlier. Stewart has yet to sign his rookie contract. Both sides are in dispute over language that would void future guarantees. Cincinnati opens training camp on July 23rd, and Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork will hold a press conference today at 1 o'clock. It's likely to address the future of the athletic department in the wake of the House versus NCAA settlement. We'll carry his comments live during Rothman and Ice. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Swimming in debt with rates as low as 8.99% APR. Save your summer with a debt consolidation loan.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Thursday edition. Time for a little higher or lower. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling today at 614-232-2222 or visit online at thewaterworks.com.
Oh.
Sports Illustrated has given us a list of 18 names. And those 18 names are quarterbacks likely leading teams in the Big Ten this upcoming season. Yeah, they've ranked Big Ten quarterback starters.
All right, real quick. Who's the name on this list? You don't have to say where they're ranked, but who's the name on this list that when reading the list you said, oh, yeah, I forgot they got that guy?
All of them. Almost all of them. I forgot. 3 I remember. 3 I'm like, yes, I knew that. Yes, I knew Julian Sane. Yes, I knew Bryce Underwood. But Fernando Mendoza? Nope.
Forgot about that one.
Nico Iamaleava? Forgot about that one.
There was one that just jumped out to me as like a, wait, what? It's Preston Stone's at Northwestern. So Preston Stone was the quarterback at SMU to start last season and was a guy who, I mean, there was some talk that he could be like everything that Kevin Jennings was at SMU last year, that he would be that. And I played a season on NCAA college football with my beloved Ponies. Preston Stone won the Heisman, baby. He was slinging it. So the fact that he's at Northwestern, I had forgotten that entirely, that he was there. There was a lot of hype around. He was a captain at SMU last year.
So much of this is we just have no idea about these guys. So I'll start.
I think it really, guys, before we get into this, just for the audience, I think what we're about to do could be duplicated around the country in various conferences, and I think it illustrates how crazy 2025 is going to be in college football, because there just are not returning starting quarterbacks at many of the traditional powers, that it's really going to depend on a young guy thrown into the fire.
Do we want to start at the bottom?
No, because I don't want to talk about Purdue.
Okay. We'll start at the top then. Again, this is Sports Illustrated's Big Ten quarterback rankings. Mm-hmm. At number 1, Drew Aller from Penn State. Can't be any higher than number 1, but higher or lower for Aller there? I
think he's the appropriate number 1. I think he damn well better be number 1 for the Ohio native. He has to be. He has to be. And this is probably, from the Penn State perspective, this is probably the most favorably they've looked at a season in terms of expectations and in terms of returning talent and everything, probably since 94. We'd have to ask Rich Garcella that. He would have it exactly, our buddy. But I think it's probably since Kerry Collins and Kajana Carter and Kyle Brady that they walked into a season and said, we're better than most everybody else. We have the experience. Both of the backs are back, but it all starts with Aller. The last time we saw Drew Aller play, it wasn't great, but he was really good in the Big Ten championship game. Most people think he's got a chance to be the first quarterback off the board in the draft. He's the appropriate number one, and it's legitimate expectation and pressure for James Franklin that's palpable.
Yeah, I think that's where he belongs, and I know there's probably people screaming at their radios right now that Drew Aller sucks, but if you combine, the pedigree of him being a five-star quarterback along with the experience of a playoff run last year, I don't know who else in the Big Ten you would put on the list if you combine those two factors.
No.
So I feel like it's supposed to be Penn State's year, like you said, and Drew Aller is going to be the captain of that ship, so he's should be the best quarterback in the Big Ten in this upcoming season.
Even Twitter's AI was like, yeah, I don't trust James Franklin.
Just for perspective, because I think you're right there, Prepio. Last year, 2 years ago, he was 60%, 26-31, 25 touchdowns, 2 picks. Last year is 67, almost 67%, 33-27, 24 touchdowns, 8 picks. So statistically, he's taken care of the football, but you still haven't had like that 38 touchdown, 5 pick year that normally the best ones get.
All right, at number 2, Dante Moore, quarterback from Oregon. At number 3, Luke Altmaier from Illinois. At 4, Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. At 5, Julian Sain, the Ohio State University. Higher or lower for Sain at 5?
So I can't have Sain behind Dante Moore. I can't. That doesn't make any sense at all. And Lincoln's still in the mix too, obviously, but I can't have Sain that low. I think it would make sense if you want to, just from the experience standpoint, to have Altmaier at Illinois, who was pretty good last year, and even Raiola. I had a lot of respect for that kid, man. That was, you want to be thrown into the fire. He really did it, and at times made some big time throws. And obviously, whatever they're going to be, it's a little annoying how much he mimics Mahomes. Like the look, the walk, the mannerism, like it's
the haircut.
It's crazy. I mean, when we took the boys to the Nebraska game, you're able to just watch him, like how he walks like him walking off the field. Like he's copied everything of Mahomes' demeanor. So that part's a little annoying. But I would probably have Altmaier higher. I would probably have Raiola higher, and then Julian Sain needs to be the highest ranked guy we haven't seen. That's who he is. So he should be ahead of Dante Moore for sure. I don't understand where the Moore infatuation comes from. We haven't seen him at all.
Well, 2 years ago, he did start some games at UCLA. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
That's right. You're right. That's right.
But still, like, I don't think
many though.
I couldn't tell you that, but I know he did start some games for UCLA before transferring to Oregon. But I'm with you. I think Julian Sain should just be slotted one higher, just from the fact that I want to throw Dante Moore somewhere down the list. I don't know where, but I'd want to throw him way lower than number 2. Luke Altmaier, I could see, he seems like the perfect quarterback for them, is the way I look at it.
He's got Kirk Pittner written all over him.
Yes. Maybe. Like he's just the best an Illinois quarterback can be. That's Luke Altmaier. So I think with his returning experience, he deserves to be up there. But yeah, higher for Julian Sain.
Altmaier started at Ole Miss. Did you guys remember that?
No,
I don't.
Started his career at Ole Miss. He played in 9 games for the Rebels over 2 years as a backup to Jackson Dart before going to Illinois. Last year at Illinois, 60%, 27-17, 22 touchdowns, 6 picks. Dante Moore threw for 1,600 yards over 9 games as a freshman at UCLA, just to buttress Dylan's point.
All right, so back to Sports Illustrated's Big Ten quarterback rankings. You had Julian Sain at 5, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza at 6, Nico Iamaleava for UCLA at 7, Bryce Underwood, quarterback at Michigan, at 8, Mark Gronkowski for Iowa at number 9, and then Jaden Maivia at USC at 10. Higher or lower for Maivia at 10?
Yeah, I'll get to him in a second. Iamaleava deserves to be higher than this. Whatever you think of him and how maybe he overplayed his hand. Yeah, however he overplayed his hand at Tennessee and whatever you think of his dad or whatever, I was impressed with that kid here in that playoff game. I mean, he got beaten. They broke his helmet, for God's sakes. And he kept getting up, kept fighting. I think in the case of Iamaleava, you could have Iamaleava in the top 4 pretty easily. I mean, he probably deserves to be that. So I think what they're doing here is they are kind of grading the situation more than they're grading the player. And the situation for him at UCLA might not be great, but he definitely should be higher on this list. Do you guys know where the Gronkowski kid's from? Did you know before you looked at this?
I was going to ask if there was any relation to the Rob. I have no idea.
I don't know, but I know that he was at SDSU in 1AA and was very good at the FCS level. So I think that's part of it. Maeva's a tough one. There's a lot on him, obviously. They pushed some guys out to make sure that he would get the chance. The other one we kind of glossed over here is Bryce Underwood. Like, is Bryce Underwood, what is he going to be year one at Michigan?
Well, they're paying him to be a top 10 quarterback, so he'd better be that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, do you want to talk about like these kids who go from playing elite level high school football in Ohio or Texas or Florida or California and trying to start right away in college? This kid played Michigan high school football, and he's going to the Big Ten and starting in year one. You better be damn good to pull that off, because that jump's a big one.
How different do you think the situation is between Bryce Underwood and Dylan Raiola last year?
I'm not sure that Michigan wants to start Underwood. I don't know if they can afford not to, but I don't think that they can afford to. Michigan's got way more talent than Nebraska 2D. They just have recruited better over the last decade. So, like, Raiola at times, Raiola's experience last year, buddy, honestly reminded me a little bit of like Shedeur Sanders at Colorado without Travis Hunter. Like, he's kind of on an island a little bit. Like, they just don't have that much talent. They're trying to get it going, but they just don't have that much talent. Michigan still has a lot of talent, as the last NFL draft proved. I mean, they recruited well under Harbaugh, and they still have some of that residual talent there.
Yeah, I just think we're getting to the point on the list here where it's like you have to look at where they ranked coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And contrast that with their experience on the field. But like guys like Bryce Underwood, I mean, was he the number one recruit or just the number one quarterback?
It depends on what service you look at.
Yeah.
You know, like he was one of them.
Yeah.
Kind of like Julian. Like on one of them, Julian was the number one player in the country. On somebody else, it was another guy. So it just kind of depends on what service you look at. There was the kid that ended up at Colorado who was really highly regarded too. I can't remember his name. Originally was a Georgia commit. He was very highly regarded as well. One guy who I think is really underappreciated on this is Aiden Childs.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice player at Michigan State. He came in 11 on this list. The other thing that jumped out to me, guys, was like, in a critical year for Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, it's Billy Edwards Jr. In a way, like the fact that he went to the portal to try to get a quarterback thing to work, tried with Tyler Van Dyke, and now they're bringing in Billy Edwards, who was previously at Maryland, and it's like, geez, Luke's in a tough spot up there. He's in a really tough spot.
I know we're up against it, but I was talking to a UC alum that's a friend of mine, and the stars really look to be aligning that Luke Fickell might be back there next year.
Well, save that, because that might be a possibility. So we'll get into that a little bit. I also have a very important question for you guys in terms of programming in July. 20 most interesting. Who are you lobbying to be on that list? We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Going up.
Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up.
Going up.
But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button.
Going down.
We've lowered prices. Get one line of 5G data for $40, period. That's 20% lower. And you get a free Samsung 5G phone when you bring your number. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
Trust. It's something we all value, but also something that's hard to earn, especially when it comes to your home. In a city like Columbus with so many contractors to choose from, how do you know who to trust with one of your biggest investments? At Newman Roofing, we believe trust starts with character and continues with consistent results. As a family-owned and operated company, we built our reputation on hiring good people, value-driven professionals who treat your home with the same care and respect they'd give their home. Our team is committed to delivering a true white glove experience. That means paying attention to the details, communicating clearly, and doing the job right the first time. We use only the highest quality products, installed with precision and backed by proven techniques. That's how we ensure you'll feel confident not just today, but for years to come. And we don't just ask you to take our word for it. With over 770 5-star reviews on Google, you can read story after story from homeowners just like you who trusted Newman Roofing and had their expectations exceeded. When it comes to roofing, gutters, or siding, call the local company built around family, values, and integrity. Newman Roofing. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
It's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place. Leslie, what's that hot lamp against your window for?
Pella windows are tested up to 160 degrees, Wilson, to ensure efficiency and the lowest energy bills possible, even in the craziest of temperatures. Put your hand on there.
All right. God, that's hot.
On the window, Wilson.
Oh, hey, that is quite nice and cool. So I'm going to go grab some ice now.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rated #1 for innovation at PellaColumbus.com.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Visit shelterinsurance.com to find an agent to help you pick a policy that's right for you. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Bobcat Enterprises says thank you for your support as they celebrate 50 years of serving the construction industry. Established in 1975 in Cincinnati, Bobcat Enterprises has expanded to 9 stores to meet you where you are in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Find equipment for any construction project, including compact track loaders and excavators. Plus, Bobcat Enterprises rents compact equipment and attachments. Find current specials and locations at bobcatent.com or follow Bobcat Enterprises Inc. on Facebook. Bobcat Enterprises, 50 years working for you.
Cheetah Green with Skip Mosick.
Saturday, SI.com's Bob Herrick joins us from Oakmont, plus Hall of Famer Larry Nelson, who won the Open there in 1983.
Cheetah Green with Skip Mosick. Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
Got a teen athlete? Then you know putting in the hours is all part of the game. But did you know the same goes for learning how to drive? Because just like playing a sport, learning to drive takes practice. The only difference is the stakes are even higher. 50 hours of practice time driving with you? Worth every minute. Gear up at teachyourteentodrive.ohio.gov.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Air quality alert back in place through later tonight, and it could be the hottest day of the year with afternoon highs soaring into the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees with mostly sunny and somewhat hazy skies. Mostly cloudy tonight, and then chances of showers and storms are back into the forecast on Friday. Otherwise, partly to mostly cloudy and highs in the upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with the 10th Weather Impact Forecast.
T-Bone and Tyvis are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
And the summer savings are here, friends. Don't miss out. RCD's RV's summer kickoff sale running June 7th through the 21st. It is on. New RVs starting as low as $12,995. Now's the time to make a splash this summer. Stop by one of our convenient locations, Delaware, Heath, Pataskala. Shop online anytime at rcdrv.com. And hurry in. These deals will not last long. You can visit those locations in Delaware, Heath, and Pataskala, or shop online anytime, as I mentioned, at rcdrv.com. It is your adventure for springtime adventure. Man, you look at what's going on in the airline industry. This is the time, kids, and it's not too late. Plenty of time to get you ready and rolling this summer. Unbeatable savings, unforgettable fun, everything you need to hit the road at rcdrv.com. 20 most interesting programs will happen in July. I've started putting the list together, the ones that are most interesting to me. Reese, I'll start with you on this. Is there one that you want to lobby for? Is there a program that you think, I don't know if you'll have this one on it, that you think should be on it?
UCLA.
Make your case.
I think that the idea that they've brought in two Iamalievas, a pair of them, that this could be another down year for USC despite recruiting success by the Trojans. I'm having a hard. I can't remember Deshaun Foster in what is his second year there in Los Angeles. So that whole thing's fascinating to me. Like, where did they come up with the money? How did they lure Iamalieva with not only the NIL deal, but the idea that we could compete and develop you in an NFL quarterback? Like, what does UCLA, what does their fan base think that football team can be now that a legit college football playoff quarterback will be starting for them?
I also wonder from their perspective, is this kind of we're all in?
Has the Big Ten been good for them? Like, has this?
Well, I don't think it has. I don't think it has at all. I mean, you listen to Mick Cronin on that. I don't think it has been at all. I think it's been necessary because they needed the influx of cash. But to your point on Iamalieva, I do wonder, how much, what is their give a damn level for football? And were they just happen to be is it like a game of musical chairs, and they were like the one spot where he could start that was from where he was, and we know he's making less than he made at Tennessee. That's known. So what does that look like?
That would be like 18 or 19.
I didn't have him on the list,
but
I did not have him on the initial list. But I think you make a compelling case with the Iamalieva stuff, and I do. How badly? I think the Big Ten needs 2 of the 3 on the West Coast to be good, like top 15 programs. I mean, Oregon's going nowhere. That's a top 5 program in the country right now. So they're going nowhere. They need one of the other ones, and they need one of the LA schools to come along. And USC is the traditional one, but we went over that a little bit yesterday with Urban's comments. What could UCLA be, and do they have the right people in place to be what it can be at its best? I don't know if they do.
And is Washington? I'm not interested in Washington. At least from the 4 Pac-12 schools, as much as I am the UCLA situation, but the UCLA situation only because of the pair of Iamalieva.
Do you think people forget that Washington played for a national title 2 years ago? Sometimes I do. I remember the Michigan win against Alabama. But then you forget, excuse me, that Washington beat Texas.
Yeah, I think people forget about Michael Penix and who Roma Dunze and who was the other wide receiver. Didn't they both get drafted very high? Like there was talented players on that offense, and yeah, they're like maybe the most forgotten national runner-up in recent memory.
Them and TCU.
Yeah, but to go back,
remember that game? Remember Georgia beating TCU by 160?
A million. Georgia just scored another touchdown just now. But
what's TCU doing in this game?
To go to your original question, I think SMU's on your list because I know how your admiration for the Ponies.
God, that's a given.
For me personally, it's Michigan, but someone who I think is not on your list is South Carolina.
You would be wrong.
Ooh, okay.
You would be wrong. Aaron Noland is there. Sessions back at quarterback. I have South Carolina on the list because to me, look, there's the standard ones, and this is the thing when you're primarily talking about Ohio State football and viewing everything through scarlet and gray colored glasses. The way that I approach 20 most interesting is I kind of break it into groups. Here are teams we have to pay attention to because we're going to have to go through them. So are they coming along? So that's your Texases, your Georgias, your Bamas, potentially your LSUs, your Oregons, obviously the Big Ten is well represented. I think almost 9 teams in the Big Ten doing the 20 most interesting. Your Notre Dames. What are those are teams you got to go through. Clemson, you got to go through them. And then the next one is like I wonder what they're up to. And so that is where South Carolina comes into effect. South Carolina has a returning quarterback. They had a star true freshman last year on the defensive side. The SEC's kind of down in the standpoint of everybody's got new quarterbacks that are traditionally at the top, except for LSU. They got Nussmeier back, and Arch is back at Texas, but he's not played a full season. We think he's going to be great, but we haven't seen a full season of it. So if ever there was a chance for South Carolina to get into the playoff, this is probably the year.
You have Texas Tech on that list?
I do.
You know, when Kurt Signetti said that they had a $40 million roster, they're spending on a similar level that, like, Texas and Oregon are spending. Yeah. First off, Kurt, you'd snitch. But second off, it's like, what's the early return on that investment look like? Like, you can expect Texas Tech, if you're putting that much into a roster, to compete for a Big 12 championship and maybe be on that college football playoff selection show every week of, they're looking in. Or they could be one of the 12, 11, 10 seed, but like long-term thing. Like the money's come out of the ground. So are you expecting them to win a national championship in 5 years?
That would be bold. Yeah, they are on the list, and they're on it for the landman purposes of it, right? They've got the oil, and I think, as Billy Bob Thornton said, $5 billion a day or whatever it was coming out of the ground. So, what's interesting about that league, and right now I tentatively have 3 teams from that league on the 20 most interesting. What's interesting about that league is someone from that league is getting in, and last year you would not have had Arizona State. You probably would have had Oklahoma State, honestly, is probably what most going into last year. That's probably the team most people would have leaned towards. So someone's coming out of that league. Who is it? Who is, and the crazy thing is the Texas Tech one, Baylor, TCU, all of those schools loaded financially. So can they organize quickly and kind of get back up to speed? I'll tell you, like, for example, there is no question they're on a 20 most interesting list. I have no idea what they'll be on the field, and I think it could be a disaster. North Carolina. I mean, we've talked so much about who he's
I figured you'd have them there.
Dating. Yeah, but just beyond that, beyond the personal stuff, what is it going to look like with Bill Belichick coaching in college in an NIL and free transfer world? And to that end, there was a story on ESPN today where this is the headline. You think this wasn't a favor done by somebody. North Carolina players talk Belichick, tout approach and humor.
Because that's when I think of when you say Bill Belichick, I go, comedian.
Let me ask you this. It's June 10th is when this story was published. Why is anybody at North Carolina on the football team doing media in June? Because they need some goodwill. They need a little goodwill. They need to be, the football's going to be okay.
I've been trying to get Tim May to ask Bo Atkinson about it when they make him available for Ohio State.
Yeah, I wonder what his
in your early. I mean, it was like a 2-month crossover between when Bill was hired and when Atkinson entered the portal. So I'm not exactly sure on Atkinson's personal timeline when he was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this." If he even met with Belichick or one of the members of the new UNC football regime, or when Mac Brown, when that decision's made, but they say Brown's going to carry out the season, is he already in the back of his mind like, "Yeah, I'm out.
I'm good." Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Bo too because I don't remember the exact number, but I know it wasn't a small amount of people that left in the spring transfer portal going out of North Carolina, headlined by Bo Atkinson, obviously, who came here to Ohio State. And that's obviously not a good look either if you couldn't even keep the players that you had in-house. Yeah, North Carolina is very high on my list of teams that I'm intrigued by this year.
Yeah, it's a good list, and there's a lot of variation to it. So, all right, good job of lobbying out of you guys. And Reese, you got something done because UCLA made it. They were not a team that was initially on it. We'll have a little Shelley time fun. A huge Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. Also get Jody's opinion on if Zach Werenski should have actually won the award he finished runner-up to. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Right now, get 50% off your windows. That's half off, plus no interest, no payments for 12 months, and a free entry door with your window purchase. Restrictions apply. Call 614-502-5220. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The biggest thriller this summer is blockbuster savings at Coughlin Chevrolet. Lease a new 2025 Chevy Trax for $159 a month. A new 2026 Chevy Equinox, only $259 a month. Or a new 2025 Silverado, lease for $359 a month. This month only at Coughlin Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
36-month lease with $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. N63025.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The gloves. It's Shelly time.
All right, time for a little Shelly time on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Buddy, it is good to talk to you. I thought the first two games were maybe the best start to a Stanley Cup I've ever seen, to a Stanley Cup final.
It was incredible, right? I mean, you got two teams. We talked about the storylines of redemption for the Oilers and then getting back to hoisting that cup for the Florida Panthers. And, yeah, it was everything. It was superstars. It was the focus, the intensity, off the charts.
It was, and they delivered in every way. An overtimer in game one, a game two that goes to double overtime. How do you explain Brad Marchand being in the right place at seemingly always? He's a third line guy, but right place always, clutch always. As soon as they acquired him, you went, oh God.
It's a guy who played with Patrice Bergeron for most of his career, and really figured out how to play hockey at, and within his role of being that agitator. Mm-hmm. And he just understands where he fits in a team. And I think that's such a great quality for an older player, go somewhere to understand the goal of the team, but also, you understand what Brad Marchand is, but for him to accept that role and figure out how to play on that third line, it says a lot about his character, and he just gets it. Like he understands the temperature of the game at all times, and I think it's such an important skill for a guy like that. He knows when to back off. He understands the crowd. He knows what the other team thinks of him, but he also he's a smart, really good hockey player. He's an all-star.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's fun to watch, fun to hate.
He's one of those guys, my hunch would be that you hate him unless he's on your team and then he's your favorite player.
100%. Yeah. He's a guy you love to hate, but when when he's wearing your team jersey, you're like, yeah,
give me that guy.
And it's the things you don't maybe see on camera behind the play or on the bench. You hear him say things, and his teammates are even like, just imagine that dynamic. They're in Florida. They got Brad Marchand, who could have closed them out a couple years ago on a breakaway in an elimination game. He missed it. Florida came back and won. They went all the way to the finals. They hated him. They had a history with him. Now he's in your locker room. And I got to talk to him when I was covering the playoffs, and he was injured, so he was skating by himself, so he didn't really feel like a part of the team. For him to feel part of the team, he's got to be that loudmouth, say the wrong thing at the right time type of guy. So once he got that going, it's a really good fit.
It sure is. And then after the first 2 games that we got up in Edmonton, you get a goal in the first 50 seconds in Florida. And you want to talk about tone setter, and of course he's the one who does it. It just set the tone for a game 3 that got really out of hand pretty quickly for Edmonton. And then in the third period, you get kind of that, and I'm sure you're just hoping if you're Edmonton that you get some fight and that carries over into tonight. But that was a tough one to watch in game 3, Joe. When you're in that spot that Edmonton is in and it's just not going your way and you lose momentum right away, how do you bounce back from that tonight in what is now a critical game 4 for them? I don't think they have any interest in being down 3-1.
No, when they could have been up 2-0 leaving Edmonton.
Absolutely.
I like that they tried to take a little bit of skin away from the Florida Panthers at the end of that game. I think that's important. Checks, scrums, punches in the nose. You let your frustration out, and then you regroup. It's 2 days now, right, between games. So here you got
too long.
Play Thursday night. They played Monday, a little long, but yeah, they looked a little bit off. They looked sloppy, almost like they were playing Florida's game, reacting to the game. Whereas I thought in game 1 and 2 they were just sticking with their game. Like, we talk about it all the time. You play in the regular season to figure out what you are, and then you just kind of enhance that throughout the playoffs, and I think that they got away from it. So I would expect them tonight to get out there. They understand it's a must-win. Last year they were down 3-0. They brought it back to Game 7 in Edmonton, and they blew it. So
yeah,
I would expect them tonight to understand what they're a part of. It's a long way. Off-season, training camp, regular season, first 3 rounds of playoffs, first 3 games of the playoffs. It's a long way to get to this stage. They know what they have to do tonight. And it's the goaltending again. Stuart Skinner gets pulled. I said early in this, before we started this series, he's got to be the factor like Bobrovsky is. And I don't know if he has it, but tonight he's got to bounce back.
I think the thing that's hard, because look, this is the time of year where the casual fan jumps on things and you're all excited. I mean, you got the NBA and you got the NHL, and they're both going almost every other day. And so people who don't watch all the time are jumping in, and you'll hear people say, well, when is McDavid going to do something? And I try to explain to, it's hard because it's not quarterback. It's not best player on an NBA team where like you can just go win a game. Like he can impose his will to a point. What do you see from, and God, he had one of the most brilliant passes you're ever going to see in your life in game 1 up there. I think it was in game 1. What do you see from him? I mean, because this is about his legacy primarily. When you think about big picture NHL, he's back at this. What have you seen from him through 3 games, and what will lead you to believe that things are going the way they need to go tonight for them to get the victory?
The thing about Florida, second change, so Barkov, the top defensive centerman in the world, his only task is to crowd McDavid. You think about the defensemen for the Florida Panthers, their only task is to be aware when he's on the ice and try to make him miserable. This is a guy who elevates through those factors. He's got 5 players and a goalie on the other team that's always aware of where he's at. I like him with Draisaitl. They split him up a little bit. Let's see if they put him with Draisaitl tonight. Load up the top line. Now you have those 2 threats, right, that can take away from his attention. Now you've cut that defense in half. And I think that's an important factor and something that the Edmonton Oilers can go to. Connor McDavid can do great things, but he needs a little time and space to get his motor going. Florida's crowding him as he gets the puck, trying to frustrate him a little bit. You put him with Draisaitl, you take a little bit off him, and give him that little extra amount of space. This is one of those games that remember Messier had a hat trick guaranteed Game 5 win that it's one of those legacy games, I think. And I think that seeing the images of him being so frustrated last year after the loss, they got to help him though. Like the defense, like Bouchard for me is a player that he messed up last game or the game 2 on a pinch on the wall. He's got to be a defenseman like Makar for McKinnon and Werenski for Monahan in the top line here. To be a factor too, and I think those 2 guys have got to give space to McDavid.
Messier, Game 6, 94. Remember that one?
Yeah,
remember that one very well. How do you think it goes tonight?
I think Edmonton wins.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think
hope so.
I mean, every game is its own tale, and I think that, like I said, when you have a superstar like McDavid and you're in the locker room with him, sorry, I just hit a shot. When you're in the locker room with him, and you feel the intensity and you understand what he wants, I think everybody raises their level. And they have a really good coach. Knobloch is a good coach. He understands what he needs to do tonight. I think he's got to put Draisaitl and McDavid together to start.
Where are you playing and how are you playing?
You don't want to know where I'm playing. Playing all right. We're at Double Eagle.
Of course you are.
We've got the alumni here, Alumni Golf Day. We do it once a year.
Oh, awesome.
So we've got some great alumni. We've got 14 local alumni involved in the community here. And today we have 7 showed up because Dorsett, who hopefully is listening, forgot about it. So we've got Nash,
come on.
Newton, Grump here, Umberger, Clark, Bull. Who am I missing? Yeah, we got a good group of 7.
Freddie there?
Shelley. Freddie's out of town. Cass is out of town. We got some good ones here. I'm paired with Nash to start. He's just giving me the eyeball here because a little bit too much conversation on this topic.
Nash, we're spreading the goodwill of the Blue Jackets here, buddy. All right, I'll get you out of here on this one. Did Zach deserve the Norris?
Yeah, I think he did. I think it's a hard trophy to win, though, when you have Makar that plays with McKinnon all the time. Zach deserved it. He had a great year. I mean, we got to see him every day, every shift, and the impact of having the captain out and all the injuries and how he was the MVP, especially in that position. Every team played to shut down Zach this season. Yeah. So I think he did. Maybe the dip after the Four Nations hurt him a little bit, but we'll see. He's got another crack at it.
I know you're going to enjoy yourself. I was going to say have a great time, but I know you are. You're playing Double Eagle. So hit him straight, buddy.
3. See you, buddy. Thanks.
There he goes. A little bit of Jody Shelley with Shelley time. Yeah, that place is crazy. That place is awesome. Good for him. That's fun. It's a big one. I hope Edmonton can get it back tonight. I'll be glued to that one. We'll get you 3 things on a Thursday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Matty Ice here. When I needed a new Chevy, I headed to McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Right now, get up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 25 Silverado LD. They've got no market adjustments, no hidden costs, and sales managers are on the floor ready to help. That's been the McDaniel difference since 1916. They're just a short drive north off Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. McDaniel GM Superstore, where great deals meet a century of trust. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024,
CARE was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Bob Yoakum, president of Rockford Homes, explains why he banks with First Bank of Central Ohio.
Anytime you're dealing with a local bank, it's about being able to pick up the phone and talk to real people. That is a huge pro. You know, when you get into these bigger banks, that doesn't happen.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the dopes at The Fan.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Seeing this in the last couple of minutes or so, and you've no doubt heard us mention his name, and I promise you've seen him on television. But the news that the great Jerry Emig will step down at Ohio State next spring after the football season. Jerry is everything that you want a sports information director to be from a media perspective. When I've run into people in the business and they say, well, who's the best you've ever seen? It's Jerry. Jerry's the best you've ever seen. He is a great human. He is incredibly good at his job. And it's a hell of a thing to do, to walk the line to where the people that you represent adore you, talking about Ohio State and the coaches, whether it be Urban or Ryan now or before that, Tress. And so to do that, and then to also be able to have that same affection from the media, because usually you're on different sides of those things. But somehow Jerry has managed to thread that needle through the years to where he's equally popular on both sides. And so we'll celebrate him all next year. And I did not know, I saw Dan Wetzel tweet this out, I didn't know that he was at Temple when John Chaney was there. So maybe we'll have Jerry on, like when he's all done. I want to have some war stories about John Chaney and keeping him under wraps at Temple. We'll have to do that as well. 23 years here for Jer, and the best in the business. So congratulations on that retirement, which it will be at the end of the year. He's the one that I told him this when I saw him last at a game this past year, and he's the one that my kids, when they see him on TV next to Ryan Day, they goes, "Is that your friend, Dad?" Yeah, that's him. That's Jerry. He's the one. So congratulations on that, my friend. One more year, though. Still a lot of work to do. Reese, what do you have on the poll today?
Daily Fan poll is a dead heat. It asks, if you had to choose between Scotty Scheffler and the field to win the U.S. Open this weekend at Oakmont, who would you pick? 50-50. We got just under 200 votes, the Daily Fan poll.
That's ridiculous.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. One man of the field. Like yesterday, I said you could have Scotty, Rory, DeChambeau or the field, then that should be a 50-50. But Scotty on his own, 50-50?
No, I was listening to you guys when you brought it up yesterday. It's just, to me, it's math. You take the field and you deal with it after.
We don't do that on this show.
Yeah, I'm not doing. I mean, that's crazy. If you were to pick your top four, before this thing started. And he would certainly have been among them, and I think Bryson would have been among them. I don't know if Rory would have or not. He's at even. He actually just made a bogey putt from about 35 feet to save bogey. That was incredible, or the wheels could have really fallen off for him. He's at even. But needless to say, Oakmont has stiffened up considerably. Spawn somehow is 4 under. Woodlands 2. But now, remember we were having a little tongue-in-cheek fun with how easy it was. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just 8 players under par. So it is answered with vigor, as it were. All right, time for 3 things on a Thursday.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
All right, number 1 for me. So last night after lacrosse camp, all of the boys had a bunch of their buddies over. So it was a full age groups, 13-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and they're jumping in the pool and eating and having a good time or whatever. And I go down in the basement, and the 13-year-olds are playing a game that they called Sting Pong. So this is Sting Pong, and this is how idiotic 13-year-old boys are. You play ping pong. If you win the point, by the way, they're all shirtless. If you win the point, the person who you beat for the point has to turn around with their back to you, and then you smoke a ping pong ball as hard as you can at their back. So when you think about lowest common denominator of human walking the planet, it just might be 13-year-old boys. It just might be.
First thing for me, I got to apologize to Guardians manager Stephen Vogt. I was critical yesterday of his lineup going into the season and series finale against the Reds with no Stephen Kwan, no Kyle Manzardo, and no Daniel Schneemann. I was like, look, you deserve to get your ass kicked if this is how you're going to do it. And I had cited a slump by Kyle Manzardo as likely the reason for him not putting him in the lineup. Well, it was one hell of a job out of Vogt to get Manzardo out of his slump. You put him in a pinch hit situation against a pitcher, Nick Lodolo, who had already surrendered a 5-1 lead. Manzardo went 2 for 3 with 2 RBI on the day. Again, when you got no confidence in your hitting, you put your low confidence hitter up against a pitcher that's already given up 5. Yeah. Decent job out of him. Guardians won 11-2.
My first thing is splash pads. So yesterday I went with a large group of 6-year-olds to the splash pad, and I used to not get it, thought it was stupid. Why go to the splash pad if you could just go to the pool? But to the dads that may feel the same way as I do, it's not about you. It's about the kid and how the kid feels at the splash pad. And for some reason, these kids love the splash pad, and I've grown to love it because it's one of the easiest things you can do with a kid. You just send them into the splash pad. You don't have to worry about them drowning and leave them to their own demise.
The only hitch in the giddy up there can be the amount of people in the splash pad, and if there starts to be physicality.
Yes.
That's where it can get a little bit dicey, but that's any situation.
You see, I'm the father of a daughter. You are the father of 3 boys, so that's a little bit different of a situation between the two of us when it comes to the physicality.
Yeah. You're not going to have to worry about Sting Pong. Exactly. I promise you that you're not going to have to deal with that. I guarantee you that. Number 2 for me. So it's rained for months, as is well documented. I'm sitting here this morning, and I was looking at my lawn, and it's a mess. And it shouldn't be a mess. I'm told there's red thread in it that I got to do something about. Like, it's been cool, it's been wet, it's watered. What is the deal here, man? I gotta find me a new lawn guy, because this is not, or gal. I can't. It's not getting it done. It's disappointing. I'm letting the whole neighborhood down. Before I know it, I'm going to have to answer to the HOA. It's just trending in the wrong direction.
Do you get in front of that by taking over the HOA again?
That went so swimmingly the last time. I think my favorite line from that was, Bo, should you recuse yourself of this because it has to do with your property? No.
This real quick from Ohio State great Will Allen. In a response to Adam Schefter breaking the news about Shamar Stewart skipping the last day of mandatory minicamp for the Bengals, well, he is unsigned. So what does that contract mean? That's still unknown, but Will Allen makes a good point on Twitter, quote, still living off the NIL money, doesn't feel the pressure to signing the deal if it's not mutually beneficial. And I hadn't thought of that.
That's a great point.
That a lot of these first-round picks are still living off NIL money. They don't need this right now.
I had that conversation with a couple of front office folks about the idea of like, you're not drafting guys who all of a sudden we've made it. You're drafting guys who already have it. And that's a very different thing to coach and all of it.
My second thing, I don't think we're going to have time for three things, so I'm going to tease Rothman and Ice there for their Gold Jacket Thursday. They're going to have Rondé Barber, Tampa Bay Buck. Great. That's a great get for Gold Jacket Thursday.
That's a fun one. I love Gold Jacket Thursday. That's a big. There's another place you can go for the Big Ten meetings.
Canton.
Do a little Canton, play Firestone. Who gets hurt? I gave them like 12 ideas for where to host the Big Ten meeting somewhere around here that you could drive to that's resorty. This isn't hard. And then perhaps Tony Patini would actually have proof of life and we would know that he actually existed. Because otherwise he's going to go to Vegas. No one's ever going to know he's even there. All right, Rothman and Ice up next. We're back tomorrow for more fun. Enjoy your Thursday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese.
Lunch is ready.
He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe in a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
This just in from the Lindsay Honda Newsroom. It's our big anniversary sale. 0% for up to 60 months has been extended on all new Hondas. Try the new 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive with 0% financing.
Lower your rate, lower your payment.
Save thousands on hundreds of new Hondas when you buy now.
With so many Hondas, why would you go anywhere else?
Shop the big, the beautiful Lindsay Honda now. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
We've discovered the perfect morning ritual, the 2 for $6 breakfast sandwich deal at Tim Hortons. Every sandwich is made to order with a freshly cracked egg and melty cheese, just the way breakfast should be. Choose between savory sausage or hickory smoked bacon, served on a toasted English muffin or flaky biscuit. There's no wrong way to mix and match this tasty deal. 2 breakfast sandwiches, just $6. Perfect. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, single item at regular menu price. Modifications and tax extra. Exclusions and additional terms apply.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings. Because you're driving to Paris.
Texas!
Then it's off to Rome.
Georgia!
And you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin.
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
It's graduation season, a time to celebrate the end of an era and the beginning of a whole new story. At Diamonds Direct, we believe moments like these deserve to be remembered beautifully. Honor your graduate with a timeless gift, a birthstone ring, a classic pendant, diamond studs, or an heirloom piece they'll treasure forever. No pressure, all sparkle, and expert guidance every step of the way. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, pork back ribs or Tyson boneless chicken breasts are on sale for $2.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy?
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.